Fix it. Arréglalo. We have somebody on Facebook and I mean IG, and I think that's just me.
Yeah, because ain't nobody else gonna look at us.
Hace calor. Negro, tráeme el abanico. I'm hot.
Well, if you turn on the AC instead of the heat, like you gotta,
Somebody was cold this morning, so if they were cold, I had to warm them.
Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Good evening, Earthlings and aliens.
Hi, Alex. How are you, Mama? We want to apologize last week with IG. I'm not too sure exactly what happened. I think we either went over.
We went over
or
and
we
the
went
battery,
under.
The battery died and we don't have a chance.
Oh, you like my lipstick, Mama? I figured I put something on because I'm always looking so bland. And white. Well, not white, but just bland. So I said, let me color it. Give it a little tinge. How are you, Mama? You good? You good? This is actually NYK, Nick. And I forgot what color it is. But thank you, beautiful.
Don't look at me like I'm supposed to know what you're talking about.
Tengo un calor. La menopausa otra vez, Tony.
It's never left.
Oh. Papi, in the arm where I normally sit, right there.
Papi.
Alex said, hi, Nelson.
Hi, Mama.
City Divas is Fast Pitch. Is that you?
Yeah, I'm on that.
Oh, okay,
okay. Let me get out of there.
All right. Let me go Our window doesn't get, we can't remove that dash. Can we remove that? No. Okay.
That I know of, no. But you're more than welcome to, like, when we're setting up.
I'm going to have to call. No, yo voy a llamar a Facebook y yo voy a poner una queja.
Come and help with the logistics.
Yo voy a poner una queja con Facebook.
You are more than welcome.
Oh, no, is it Facebook? Yeah, it is Facebook.
Yes, it's Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. I just want a live. I want a really big, nice live.
You gotta fly like Biden.
I have a fly?
It was there.
It's winter there. Flies aren't even supposed. Well, then again, I'm in Florida, so flies are everywhere.
There's no such thing as winter in Florida.
There is a winter in Florida.
No, because right now.
Right now, what? Why you look so low? Are those pants you got on?
Those shorts.
They look like underwears. Ponte pantalones.
What are you talking about? They're shorts.
Know. When you sat down, they look like underwears to me. My bad.
They're shorts. They're like my coaching shorts.
Okay, it looked like something else. Wait. It looked like something else. Hi, Mama. How are you? Good evening, baby. Good evening.
Who's Mama? Who's baby? Like
Ivy.
Oh, okay. But you didn't say her name. How is she supposed to know that you're?
Because she's the one that's on right now. I know there's 8 people watching us.
Exactly.
On Facebook.
Oh my God, that feels so amazing.
Oh, Christopher Rodriguez. Hi, Christopher. How are you? Woo, it's hot. Es la menopausa. Me cago en la madre. This shit is like out of control.
Don't they have like a vaccine for that?
The Red Boys, Chris?
Yeah, it's Chris.
I don't know. Is it? It's Christopher. Oh, yeah. Okay. He has a podcast also. Am I correct?
The Rec Boys.
I know he has the Rec Boys, but didn't he just have a show the other evening?
Yeah.
I'm
get the name of that right now.
Put that name up, Christopher, if you don't mind. As far as your podcast, as well as your
the Rec Boys, baby, the Rec Boys.
Your wife, so that you could put it on. Yeah, he got me a fan, Alex. You see that? My Boricua fan.
I really thought he was going to get you an actual fan that you plug in.
Porque tú eres bien exagerado. Tú eres bien exagerado.
You heard?
That was... well, type it in.
Bedroom Chronicles. Yeah, so Christopher Rodriguez has also Bedroom Chronicles. And he has the Rec Boys. Put your info, if you like, on the comment box so that, everybody can join and watch when you're on. We do a lot of supporting here.
I'm just looking at you and you look like you're melting.
And I don't even have makeup on. That's just shit. I'm hot. I'm telling you, this is the menopause. Menopause sucks.
Wait,
man.
Did we go through this and did you see the movie Belly and you understand the female that was in that movie? Super mega producer, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Not exactly.
Belly?
What about it?
The female?
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
The Haitian or the Jamaican chick? But I'm just talking about how shiny she was.
Yeah. Oh, you know what it is? Is because...
No, we don't know what it is.
Listen, okay, so, I mean, women, most women, and more likely men, you basically go through this whole facial process, and it's toner, and it's serum, and it's a bunch of stuff just you could get that glow, that even skin color. So that's why my face looks like the way it does. I'm not melting. You could touch me. and I don't melt, papá.
Tú me dejaste igual porque
yo
no entendí un
I don't
carajo
melt,
lo que tú dijiste ahí. Yo, she just spit out a whole bunch of makeup lingo.
It's not makeup.
And I'm just...
It's not makeup. It's called... it's basically how you cleanse your face. So I cleanse it with hazelnut rose water tonic. That's what you do after you wash your face, okay?
It is Sunday.
Then you put...
It's Domingo.
I
know you take a shower.
Ayer fue sábado. Yo me bañé ayer.
Oh.
So I'm still glowing today.
All right.
I'm still glowing. So how's everybody doing? There's 7 people on Facebook. Can we all say hello? Don't be shy. Don't be shy, please. Don't be shy. We hope everybody's doing well tonight.
Honestly, I wish I could see who the viewers are. Oh, somebody dropped out because they said, they see 7. And they went down to 6.
Oh, my Lord. I love it. Joanne, 313 is on. Hi, Joanne. Mama, you look fantastic. I want to tell you, you look absolutely stunning. And you're glowing, and you just look amazing. Very gorgeous. Very, very gorgeous.
You always glow, papi.
Super mega producer. You always glow, Papa. You shine.
Always.
Hi, Daisy. How are you?
You shine so much that I need to wear sunglasses to look at you,
Ew.
papi. Yeah. You like that. You like
first
that.
First of all, you're my ace.
Okay, but I can't play.
And that super mega producer. Tranquilo.
I can't play him.
Bájalo como 100.
I can't pay him.
Que te subiste, bájate.
I can't.
No.
Yo, I just
You're
can't.
You're tongue-tied.
Because you don't let me finish, god damn it.
Tongue-tied. Can you put it up? Can you put it down?
Bro, I don't know what it is with you today.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Daisy, I hope you're feeling better, mama.
It's on and popping. What do you mean? It's Facebook has stalkers. Okay, so there are 7 people on Facebook, and out of the 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals who have chimed in and said, "What's up? Hey, super buddy,
Alex." The reason Facebook
I just interrupted.
I just did because I'm answering a question.
Listen, boo boo.
So. If you go on Facebook, you get to hear all the sound effects and everything.
Correct.
So IG unfortunately does not.
Wait, where's the other one? That
Mother
one.
effer.
That one. You see, that's what we have. How are you, Super Buddy? Super Buddy, it was amazing chatting with you last night. That was just an abundance amount of laughter and tears. All at the same time, and it was great. Doobie girl. That's the queen of doobies.
Queen of
doobies. Super Buddy. So we have a good show coming up tonight. I want to say, and I'm going to start off with saying that I was going to bow out tonight. I really was on the fence about tonight's topic.
Shaking my head. Oh, about the topic or how you were feeling?
It's not about how, I was feeling, I don't know what's going on, but, today was one of those days, migraine hit. So, I was in bed, I was reading and chatting with Michael Mai and whatnot. And, I don't know, tonight's topic kind of I was like, I don't want to be an hypocrita and shit, and I know I'm going to have to apologize because there were times in my life where I basically were like, "You're shit."
But that's fine though, because
Superman.
The reason
Hey Jay, how are you, mama?
The reason I had said about that topic because it's the Manning shit isn't taken. Many people take it literally, and it's not taken. We're not going to discuss it literally.
Hi, Green Eyes.
It's the meaning behind it or the effects that it causes saying that. So yeah, I think everybody at some point in their life said, "Women ain't shit, men ain't shit." But it's how you allow yourself.
It's eating those words after the fact, right? Because we initially, at least for me, it sounds like we're getting straight into our topic tonight. Men ain't shit. The myth. Is it a myth?
The truth,
or is it the truth, or is it a mystery?
I don't know.
No. The reason why, for me, I will be honest with you. The reason why.
Lie, please lie.
Mother effer.
Lie.
Interrupting me.
Las cosas malas se pegan.
Evie, I can listen. What I'm about to say is this is my truth, and because again, it's called transparency, and we're here to just bring you from what our life experiences and what's been real. So there have been 2 men in my life where I will absolutely say that because of my anger, because of my pain, and because of what I went through with them, that yes, I at one point was like,
they caught your wrath.
You're fucking shit.
Your wrath.
You are a shit, and you are the worst person in the world. And I am now literally, I want to say not literally because it's not literally, but I am eating those words because those men are actually the two men that I know that I can depend on no matter what. One being my son's father, the other being my husband. So to them, the start of the show, I do apologize. You men are absolutely amazing.
I'm glad you've grown and learned.
I've grown.
And that's what's important. That's the whole premise behind it.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
If you allow that mindset to continually affect you, you are never going to progress in any relationship whatsoever.
No, yeah,
so that's the
I
important
agree.
part.
I agree. You
I
know,
feel so high.
we literally.
No, not literally. I wish it was literally.
Tracy, I miss you, Mama. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. You need to come by. We're no longer.
Fairy tales and lies.
Wow. I FaceTime her today.
Tales and lies.
And then she FaceTimed me, and then we played
FaceTime tag?
Tag. Yeah,
Yes.
we played tag.
You're it. That's a dope shirt, by the way.
Listen, this is my surrender shirt. And it has, I'm going to stand up.
Super mega producer, pay attention. Look what she just said.
This is my surrender shirt. I love handcuffs, by the way. They're great. But
I didn't need to know that
this
shit,
is my
bro.
surrender shirt. And the reason why I call it the surrender shirt, which is thanks to you, because you gifted me this shirt. Is it a gift? It's a gift. Anyway, it's surrender. And I surrender to myself.
It's amazing. I can't even get an urge. And I was like, I couldn't even respond to it. I was like, what? Oh, what?
No, it's a surrender shirt. And I surrender to myself, to my truth, to my realism, and to me. You know, that's how I signify the handcuffs. I surrender to myself.
Okay.
But I do like handcuffs.
That's another podcast, bro. Holy shit.
Bondage. No. With all seriousness, so yeah, that's true. That's the truth. But I was very.
You listen to this one. She said, I hold 3 pairs of handcuffs. Let me know when you need.
Caring is sharing, Mama. You know what? That doesn't surprise me because every time I say that I need something or I want something, you always come over TV and you always have it. So it doesn't surprise me.
I want
that
2 cheesecakes and He comes here with 2 cheesecakes. I'm like, holy shit.
Yo, I say cheesecake. She says, I'll be there in 2 seconds. And she's here with like three cheesecakes, and we devour that. Hi, Compi, how are you? How are you?
She's an enabler.
A good enabler. She's a good enabler, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Compi, what's up? I hope all is well. Love you. So I was very apprehensive, you know, again about that, this topic, about tonight's topic. What happened?
No, I'm just talking super mega.
Quédate aquí.
He has to give instructions.
Quédate
what
aquí.
the hell? I have to focus on
him.
He's telling me, you know, we need to share, like, you know.
11 people, chime in, guys, chime in.
Share.
And
You
women,
know,
share, like, subscribe.
Let everybody know what we're doing. Like,
Jay, I love it. I do the bondages. No one ever going to tie me up. You do bondages or you don't do bondages. No one ever going to tie me up.
I don't. I guess she forgot. I don't.
Okay.
Bondages.
M Castillo 456. Welcome. I believe this is the first time you're on with us tonight. So thank you for joining us.
Wow, you got a memory like that?
Absolutely.
Oh shit.
Ask Super Mega Producer. Listen.
Well, her memory?
If nobody heard that, he said he hates the fact that I have a good memory.
Memory ain't
That's
shit,
right. Bro. Don't try to play yourself.
Memory ain't shit.
Yeah. So tonight's topic again, I wasn't too crazy about it, and I was literally going to bow out.
That's some bullshit.
I told that to you earlier. I told you that topic wasn't resonating with me, you know, but that is why it wasn't resonating to me, because I felt that I can't talk about something that I know in my time. Unfortunately, you know, again, that
there's nothing wrong with it though. You
No,
understand?
no.
We've all have gone through that
Hi,
stage
Natalie.
or phase.
We're human.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's part of being relationships. The phrase "men ain't shit" is more what we want to discuss is how impactful it becomes in a person's life if they continue with that mindset. And that's the whole issue. I always have a problem with it because I see it all the time on social media. I've heard it from other female friends, men ain't shit. And I can understand all the emotions that are going on and it's all building up. But I've seen many people, many women that have allowed to keep that they allow that mindset to continue into other relationships. And then how successful do you think you're going to be with that mindset? And that's the problem. So you can say men and shit in my experience. I went through that, but you cannot allow bad experience to dictate how your future and your present continue.
Okay.
¿Me entiendes?
Sí, te entiendo. Okay. Yo oigo. Yo te entiendo.
I didn't say if you listen.
No, I listened. I listened. Okay, listen, so Linda. and again, listen, super. You could listen, super mega producer. We got chairs all over the place. You want to join us? You could join us. You could be our guest tonight. That would be awesome. We don't mind.
We need to write down the number.
Number what?
Oh, I didn't give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you right now for call-ins. So he can put it
on
that.
Yes, we are having call-ins tonight. That's going to be really interesting. And don't hold, no bars bold. How is it called? No bars hold?
No. Okay, wow. Try it again. Let's do number 3. Come
no
on.
Bars hold.
Let's go for 4.
No hold bars.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I felt like I was on a game show. Oh my God, did I win a prize?
No, you did not, bro. It took you got X'd out already. You got the buzzer.
Yeah. Hi, Sony. How are you? Yes. So there will be a number. I want to be a guest, please, one day. Absolutely. Compa, you could definitely, you know where we at, and you could definitely join us. Rose 76. How are you? Thank you all for joining us. And so no, I understood, and I think again, I think that I'm talking from the woman's perspective that men are targeted as being shit when things go wrong. And you could go from 1 minute to another, and he could be the best thing in the world, and when things go left, he's the worst person in the world. But again, as I stated earlier, I had to eat my words, not once but twice, because people change, right, people
but I
grow.
don't consider about eating words because I just think we're all built on emotion, and a lot of us react on emotion. And and obviously we say a lot of things on emotion, and some of those things we can't take back.
Right.
But I completely understand. There's plenty of men out there who ain't shit.
But you're the one who selected tonight's topic. Yes. And we want to be clear here. Topics are picked, and we don't discuss these topics, okay? Meaning we come on and
we try.
We don't. No. What I mean is we don't sit down and say, okay, what are we going to say about this topic?
The most we do is actually the day of a couple hours.
You know what? I love TV. Hi, Anne Marie. I love TV. Men are gifts from above. Yes, they are. We are all gifts from above. We all are. Michael Maizan. Hi, Eileen. How are you? We're all gifts from above, and we all make mistakes. And I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that when someone is into their emotions, okay? By the way, if you want to call in, you can call in by DMing Benjamin Malave on Facebook. How about on IG? What is there a number for IG? Because
same thing. No, it's the same thing. But put the number in IG
you
in
can
Facebook.
You can DM Instagram. Only Lorraine has joined us. Only one Lorraine has joined us.
Okay.
As well. Hi, Mama. How are you? We were in our feelings today, so I'm sending you lots of hugs, baby. But yeah, I think what you're saying is that when an individual, and in your case, you said women. So when women, like I said, not all, are into their emotions, and they don't want to let go of the fact that that person hurt them, that person or that man hurt them, because you said men, that man hurt them, and they don't want to look beyond that, or they don't want to put that in the past or come to terms with it and then go on. Right. Is that correct?
That's part of it. And the thing is that as well, that this is one of the biggest problems in relationships. Some women that say that never look at what they did in that relationship. They never take any accountability. It's when relationships usually don't work out, both parties have some type of fault in it breaking up. So
Sasha's hitting hard. Sasha said, "Women ain't shit, men ain't shit, people ain't shit.
Right.
You have to remember that we're human and faulty."
Yeah, Sasha
I
said
agree.
She sent me a message that's like, "I got a lot to say." I'm like, "Oh boy."
I agree. But how sour can a person? I believe it takes a lot of energy, and a lot of who you are when you just focus on how bad. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess you focus on how bad a person is. All right. So because she generalized it and she said men ain't shit, right? Women ain't shit, people ain't shit. We all ain't shit, but
Hello, Miss Vega. How are you? That's my friend. I've enjoyed Vega.
Why Miss Vega got that shout out like that? Miss Vega, explícame quién tú eres, because ese shout out estaba. Look, you look all sexy in your profile pic too.
You met her before.
I have?
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Oh, all right. We have a story for later. But no, this
is what we were talking before, right? We were saying people are in relationships, right? And for the most part, you're in a relationship. 80% of the time, you love that person. Like you generally like being with this person. If not, you wouldn't be in this person. I would hope that would be the case, right? But what a lot of relationships do, that 20%. That's what people focus on. They never focus on the 80 to continue growing the 80. They focus on the 20, and it only takes 1% to fuck up the 80. And it's unfortunate that that's what the mindset for a lot of people. And I feel bad when I see that from women that say men ain't shit. And I get it, you're in your feelings, but then,
how long you stay in those feelings is the question.
Yeah, exactly, and that's my problem. Some of us stay on it for a while, and I've seen that. I've seen women that just stay, and all they do.
I would just want to. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to give a shout out to my son Suave, who is on Instagram. Hi, baby. We love you. We miss you. We hope to see you soon, and you're awesome. You're awesome. I wanted just to give that little shout out to my son. Go ahead.
Wait, what's his name?
Suave. Yeah, I can't pronounce the second one.
Suave Uchiha.
Yes, our son.
Ay, que diablo
He's
es
our
eso?
second. He's our second son.
I'm just curious how he came up with that name in the first place.
He's my first son.
He's your first son, but he's our second son, meaning we have 3 children together. Your first, my first, and our third.
Here we go with semantics.
Together.
Here we go with semantics. Jesus Christ.
I will never say he's just his son.
Yes, Sasha, you are correct. The damage, it depends on the damage sustained. Now, like I said in the beginning, I said there are men that ain't shit, just like women ain't shit, but let's stick to the topic of men ain't shit. Yes, there are plenty of men who are just complete destroyers
You're
of
setting
fucking
boundaries.
relationships.
You said let's just stick to the topic. You really want to talk about this.
Yes.
So we have Jay here, Karkira. She said relationships and love in general are complicated no matter how deeply you care for someone. They won't make you happy all the time. Ups and downs. Sometimes they are shit. Sometimes they amaze me. We also have Arson34. He says, I think you have to understand the person you are with. And then again, Karkira said, it's unrealistic to believe you'll ever experience anger, disgust, and yes, even hate over the course of a relationship. After 20 years, my hubby has been shit and my savior all within a week. Amen. I love that. That was absolutely beautiful.
See, but that's great because even though you had a moment where, damn, you ain't shit, but understand that you didn't stay in that mindset. And that's what I want to address, is staying in that mindset of negativity when it comes to the opposite sex. Because at the end of the day, none of us want to be alone.
Some people choose to be alone.
I'm not saying that's right, but I said most people. Listen. If you want to talk about, let's talk about in the context of religious, right? We were meant to be paired up. We were meant to have a partner in life. And then just in general, in being positive, You want a partner with you to experience your lows, your highs, your triumphs, your defeats. You want someone to share that with, because I don't think you can live a fulfilled life if you can't share that with someone. You know what I'm saying? I think it's so important to do that. So when you do go through some type of bad breakup, and you get that mindset that you don't want to mess with any men, and you judge every man on your bad experience or experiences, it really just, it hurts you as a person, that you never allow yourself to open up your heart again. Like, for me, example, I got married young and I ended up getting divorced, and what did I do? I don't want to get married. Women ain't shit. And how long did I have that mindset? And that mindset was a detriment to my subsequent relationships, because I had that, the moment, it's a trigger, right? So the moment something that I had experienced in my marriage came up in my other relationships, my walls came up, and I'm like, yep, I'm Dilligaff. For those who don't know what Dilligaff means, is, do I look like I give a fuck? And I was like that for many, many years, you know. And in hindsight, I look and I'm like, holy shit, like, I did myself a disservice by having that. And, you know, it's unfortunate. Luckily, I've grown a little bit. And
I think you've grown a lot.
I believe so. I would hope so.
I think you've grown a lot. And I say this because, you know, I have been with you for more than 20 years. And I've seen your struggle. And I believe there was one time that I said that you're using your marriage to prevent you from moving forward with someone else.
Correct. It took so much for me to open up my heart. And the thing is, when I did, even though that relationship did not work, it was still, I guess, an illuminating experience, because I look at it in hindsight, I'm like, I opened up my heart and I love this person with no expectations whatsoever. That I was heartbroken and disappointed that it didn't work out. Of course I was. But I left that relationship by no means saying, oh, I'm never going to get married. Oh, I'm never going to be in another relationship. So I grew in that moment, but I allowed myself to be open and vulnerable to someone. And while it didn't work out, and, you know, nobody wants to feel heartbroken and moping and depressive and anything like that, but it didn't stop me from being vulnerable again. And I have to thank that relationship, because if it wasn't for that relationship, the relationship that I had after that would have never, ever, ever happened whatsoever, because I would have never allowed myself to be in that place.
I think also we lose trust in love when that happens. You can scroll back to some comments on Facebook, but we lose trust, right? And we become so insecure with how much we can give a person, and we lock in what we can actually give to another when we have been deceived, when we've been betrayed, when we have been disappointed, so that the next person that walks in gets the brunt of that.
Yes, you know, absolutely. We can't control what happens, but we can control how we react to a situation. And
we also have individuals that, unfortunately, you know, they were raised in ugly situations, you know, and they saw ugly things with their parents.
And that's all they know.
And that's all they know, so that they take that and they're like, I'm not even going to put myself in a situation that, you know, is going to put me, like, is that going to happen to me like my mom or my dad, you know, or like my grandma, my grandpa, or whomever, you know what I'm saying, as far as someone that they look up to, you know, and that causes a lot of pain for a lot of people, because they end up by themselves because of that fear. Is this also going to happen to me, or is it going to happen am I going to be hurt?
You're waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time. Yeah. And it's like walking on eggshells, but that's not being in a relationship. That's not being open to a relationship. you know, it's and it's difficult. I understand it's difficult, but it's really not. It's not conducive to a person's like overall energy. And if you're in that mindset, understand that what your mindset is and what you're feeling is what you're going to attract.
Correct.
So if you're in this mindset and men ain't shit, guess what life and karma is going to bring to you? Men that ain't shit.
You think it's hard? For example, I think we all when we start off in a relationship, we start off with that wall, right? And that's our protective shield. And
I don't think we should start with a wall. I think we should start with caution. I think we should start with signs. A wall is very
Why
defensive.
not start with, let me put all my cards on the table and let me tell you, not your past, because sometimes and more often than not, and I don't know why, I see this a lot, I hear about it a lot. People go out on dates for the first time.
You look cute in a bandana. Just let you know. I just had that profile. I just say, you look cute. Chola. Those guys.
No, I think that now I lost my train of thought. But I think that, for example, when you go on a first date, I think one thing that we shouldn't do is right away say, hey, that question, right? So why are you single? The fuck? You're single. That's all it is.
Ain't nothing wrong with being single.
Or, so tell me what happened in your last relationship. Not for nothing, like, you're bringing that person into their past. You're bringing up those pent-up feelings, when a person's trying to move forward. So,
there's definitely not a topic of conversation for a first date.
It isn't. It
Absolutely
isn't. But it tends to unfortunately come up, and people want to know, right? And why? This is what I always say. You have an agent. You meet that agent. And I said this to you earlier.
What do you mean by agent?
What I mean is people don't put themselves out there from inception.
Yes, I don't think
they don't. They present themselves to be one way, right? And I'm a believer that if I'm going to talk to someone and I'm going to tell somebody what I'm missing and what I need and what I want, that person is going to give it to me from onset if they're into me. Right? But here's the thing. I shouldn't have to tell you all of that. You should, because I'm in a vulnerable state. Right. So I need, I want, and I'm telling you everything that I missed from my last relationship.
But this is not on a first date, though.
This can be on a first date, on a second date. I'm just saying from the inception of a relationship.
Okay.
Right.
We're not talking, we're just talking about the first date, because relationship is a little bit different. You've then already set that you and I are going to be in a relationship. And then at that point, then, hey, let's put all the cards on the table. We've gotten to know each other and we were feeling each other. I said, let's see where it goes.
I want to address Joanna's comment here. She said maybe not first date, but you have to know someone's scars. Why? I want to know why. Why is that your opinion? And I say that because
but scars
sometimes
immediately or eventually.
No. I don't want to know about somebody's scars. I want to know that person, and the reason why I say that is because we could take somebody's scars and use that against them. Meaning, we could take that vulnerable state and say, this person, was hurt this way, but you know what? I'm gonna just get a hold of them by taking that under my wing and just giving it to them for a moment, because then once you get all relaxed and very comfortable in the relationship, that shit can go away.
Well,
right? It's not longevity.
That's why I said walls, no, cautious, yes, and then I mean you gotta take it for how the whole the dating and the person and how you guys go along when it's appropriate. Like, I think everybody is different. It's going to be in different stages for everyone, and when they're comfortable in and exposing themselves that way.
Hi, hardcore. Oh my God, my India, my beautiful. Yes, you are allowed to. Oh, you want to add in a question? Absolutely, you can definitely add in any questions. There is a number that you can call. You can DM, and you can actually call in as well.
How are they gonna know? Oh, okay.
You could DM. But where?
Where?
Oh. Okay, on IG you can DM direct message BIGBEN 1, and you can definitely call in.
Or if you want to, you can say, "Hey, I got a question. Can I call in one of in the comments?"
If someone likes you, they will show you on the first date.
What do you mean?
It depends, Sam. And in the reason why I say that is because if someone likes you, they may like you, and they may have just one interest in you, and not a full interest yet. We have Fabi in the house. Hi, Mama. It says, okay, Joanna. Did Joanna respond to my question? I'm just curious if you because I really am interested in her thoughts on what she said as far as what she did comment. Fabi said it helps the other person to understand a little why you are the way you are. And I agree, it does.
But that's not on the first date.
Some people take advantage of that. That's my point of view. They can
take advantage of it.
Some people will say, it's like, for example, I'm going to give this example. Let's say, for example, you are married and you meet someone, and that person is listening to all your troubles in your marriage, right? And you don't realize that this person has an interest in you, and you're just crying your heart out to them. And the next thing you know, they are giving you everything that you need. For example, my spouse doesn't talk to me at home. My spouse doesn't bring me flowers. My spouse doesn't give me attention. And the next thing you know, this person's constantly giving you attention, letting you know, listening to you, just filling up that void. That's how easy it is for somebody to take your weaknesses and say, you know what, I'm going to grab this bull by the horns and I'm going to play it because I want this person for whatever purpose.
That's already a different topic altogether.
It is, but what I'm just saying.
That's a violation right there.
I'm just saying as far as the vulnerability is concerned.
Yeah. Definitely.
But, this is your topic tonight. I'm throwing it all out to you.
That's fine.
Because
no problem with that.
I know that from what I know about you, it hasn't been easy. And I only know that, and I'm going to put it out there. Okay, I'm going to put it out there. I've had some of the females you've been involved in calling me or texting me and describing how you are shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And here's the thing. I've said this before, but I'm going to repeat myself. I am your ace. And I love meeting whoever you decide to share your life with. But I am not here to give any woman that you're involved with a guide as to who you are. Right? That is not my place. My place is to become friends with them, and that is all. I am not here for therapy. I am not here for anything, because at the end of the day, you're a woman, and if you're going to come at me and tell me he's shit, you know what I'm going to tell you? Then leave him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you to leave him, because if you're telling me he's shit, I'm not going to come back and say he's not shit. Right? Because I'm in a different place than that woman is. Totally different place. So she's seeing something that I don't see.
It's amazing.
Right?
How come they don't text you when I do great things?
Right? Absolutely.
Like I don't understand that. Like, really?
I swear to God, I've never had any of the females you've been involved with ever tell me how amazing you are. People that is a super. Where the super facts?
Super.
I need super facts right here. I need something. I need super facts. Yeah, because.
But it's amazing though, because that's exactly what it is. Everybody focuses on the 20.
Oh, Lorraine said it. You ain't their friend. You're his friend. Back up, bitches. Absolutely.
No, but the thing is that she's never been biased. Correct. Like if they've wanted, I mean, obviously they have enough. If you're going to reach out to her, that means you're going to value her. You want to value her opinion. So if you thought she was going to be biased toward me, then why reach out to her in the first place?
Right.
So you're looking for some insight, plain and simple. Yeah. And if she gives it to you, and then you're like, oh, but that's not what I wanted to hear. But then it's not what you want. People want to hear what they want to hear, but they need to hear what they need to hear.
We have a call. Oh my God.
How do I pick this up? Now?
Hello?
Hello?
Who's there?
Hello? Who's there? Is it me you're looking for?
No, I'm not looking for you, but I have a lot to say on this topic.
Sasha Felix.
I have so much to say. Hi, guys.
Hi, Sasha. Welcome.
Hi. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. I'm just gonna spill it.
Started what?
We're human. We're human.
I hope so.
Humans suck. Humans suck. We're faulty. We're not perfect. We're imperfect creatures.
But we don't
Men
suck.
suck.
We don't suck
Women
all the
suck.
time.
Hold on.
Okay,
No. Wait. Let me finish my vent because I'm stressed.
I'm so sorry. 1 second. IG can't hear the call.
They can't. Sorry.
If you guys can go, if anybody's on IG and they want to hear the call, and we apologize. IG is very, very strict.
Yeah.
If you want to jump into Facebook,
or
jump
you
on
can
Facebook,
do both.
please. Or you can menage a trois.
Menage a trois. Always menage a trois. Or to YouTube, because YouTube you can also.
It's IG in the way it works. So we're sorry. We really are sorry. But if you have an account on Facebook, please join us on Facebook. You can hear her there.
Or YouTube.
Go ahead. Or YouTube, correct. Or YouTube. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sasha. Go ahead, Mama.
YouTube.
No, that's okay. So I'm really stressed out with this topic because as humans, we're imperfect and we're shit. It is what it is. We're selfish creatures, not all of the time, but we're very selfish.
Correct.
So when people say men ain't shit, women ain't shit, you're absolutely right. But it's not, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're shit all the time.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's my point in saying this topic is because people just stay stuck in that mindset. And that's a problem. And people don't realize
it is a problem. Well, you know that after my separation, men were not shit. And I apologize to you all the time. I'm sorry, but I can't stand your species right now. I'm not fucking with you.
You sure used to say that
all
the time, bro.
I surely did. You and I were...
You said
we're friends, but I didn't give a shit about your species.
With a straight face, Sasha would say, "You're like, you men ain't shit." I'm like, wow, okay.
And I would tell her, listen, I love you, but I can't stand your species. Yeah. It was nothing personal to you. It was personal to what I was going through.
And did
we still talk and we were still friends? Absolutely.
Yeah. I really thank you because when you told me the story behind that, that mindset that you had, I could understand why you had that mindset. And
right.
You are growing and you are letting go of that mindset slowly. No, there's no timetable for having that mindset and releasing. Is that whenever everybody's comfortable, and that's
exactly.
And it takes. I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it takes a lot of self-evaluation as well, right? And I know for myself and my personal experiences when it came down to my son's father, I felt very betrayed. But I allowed my anger to get in the way.
Emotions are tricky.
And at some point, I think that and Sasha, I don't know your background, so this is not even no point intended.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, we all reach a level, and I want to describe it as the grieving stage, right? And we go
mm-hmm.
from being in shock to being hurt to being angry. And then
mm-hmm.
there's acceptance,
that's
right?
The end.
And that's the stages that we go through. So, in the mm-hmm. beginning, it's going to be men ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, Papi said necesita hua.
I'm so sorry, Sasha.
Yeah. You can't, I'm sorry, you cannot make up this shit. And that's why I love the way we do it.
My dad's on Facebook asking me if I want grapes.
I don't know if there's a hidden meaning to that or something like that.
He'll probably come up here with a bowl of grapes. Sí, papi, tráeme una juguita. Yo quiero una juguita.
I can't.
But no, I think it takes time, it takes growth, it takes a lot of healing. Because when you're hurt, and when you're feeling, and you have a right to go through your emotions, but at some point you have to ask yourself, how much energy am I investing in this? And is it worth it?
Absolutely, but it all depends on what the hurt is.
Absolutely.
If you use the car and you don't fill the tank, you ain't shit, but I'm over it in 20 minutes.
Right.
It depends on what it is.
That long? 20 minutes? Shit. Oh, coño.
Yeah.
If I have to take my time to fill up the gas tank because you were an asshole and you didn't fill it up after you used it, yes, I'm going to be upset for a little while. But it depends on what the situation was. In my situation, men were not shit for about a good 2 years, and I did not give a I didn't give a crap.
That's fine. But you're not there anymore, which is the most important.
I like men. Men make me very happy.
She made that loud. I like
men are amazing, yeah. But it's because I'm over it. Because you weren't shit.
Right, exactly.
But the same thing happens for women.
Yeah. For our people on IG, we had to call Sasha, and basically what she was saying in a nutshell is that men ain't shit, women ain't shit, we're human. And we are bound to make mistakes. We're bound to make errors. And it's just a matter of accepting what has happened and then moving on from that. And that's the whole premise of this topic is, you can say men ain't shit. I don't got a problem with that because I know I haven't been the perfect man, but, you gotta let go.
Mira, papi,
you move on.
Yeah, you move on. You grow. You hopefully grow.
I don't mean to laugh. My dad is on Facebook and he's throwing daggers on me. I'm about to knock him. Mira, papi, por favor, quítate de Facebook. Deja la jodienda. Me estás jodiendo y te voy a joder bien mal.
Boricua Papi isn't that?
Boricua Papi, you can catch him on TikTok. Boricua Papi's my dad is on TikTok. He's up to 8,000 followers with his videos. So, he's on there, and I'm so sorry. I'm veering from the topic and the conversation.
He is hilarious.
I do apologize to our guest that has called in for that, but yeah.
Thank you, Sasha. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye, Mama.
I tell you, Sasha gives me homework. I can't stand her. Like, she's do research for this. I'm like, really?
So we have a couple of comments here. Only Lorraine said we are animals by nature, and that's why men ain't shit in every species. But I don't agree with the men ain't shit. I always and this is just in recent years where I've just said, let's look at ourselves. Let's focus on ourselves. People do things, and they're gonna do things consciously. They're gonna do things unconsciously. They're gonna hurt us, and we have to determine how we're going to react to that. And I'm gonna go back to life is short, right?
Extremely. Yeah. Nothing is promised. Tomorrow's not promised, and we waste our time.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome. Gorilla Glue, Papi. I swear I'm gonna block you off of this right now. But going back to and again I'm gonna throw this back at you because you brought up this topic. But going back to you and my experiences with the people that you or the women that you were involved with, it was very difficult at sometimes dealing with some of the women that you dealt with when they would call me and they would complain about you and what you did. And
I was the devil.
And at the end of the day, you were more than the devil.
I was like pure evil, pure fucking evil. Like wow,
it was like venom on top of venom on top of venom, and it was like at the end of the day, I would always come back and say, listen, it sounds like you know what you're going to do, what you want. And it doesn't appear that he is what you want. So why don't you move on, right?
And did they?
And absolutely not.
I can't be that bad, huh?
You know what it is to go through, and I'm going to put it out there. You know what it is to go through, because I swear to God I went through this with you. So you know what it is to go through 5 years, and the only time this person will call you was, and I'm thinking it's an emergency, right? And the only time this person will call you is to bitch about you. And I would be like, did we not go through this? And did I not tell you, if your gut tells you this, and if you're feeling this, and if he's such a fucking horrible person, what the fuck are you doing with him? Straight up. And they hated me for it. They hated me for it. But what do you want me to fucking tell you? I'm in a different relationship with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that relationship.
But you would think that by saying that, and that's not what they expected, you would think people would self-reflect. Wait a minute.
Well, I'm a woman, and I'm putting myself in that woman's shoes. But if the woman is telling me he ain't shit, what? All right. If I say he ain't shit, you know what? I'm out. I'm not staying there to find out if he's gonna be more shittier.
This is the thing. My marriage didn't work out, and I was traumatized. Is really
I love you, Papi.
It's a perfect word to say. Traumatized. And for many, many years, I said, I'm not getting married. I never said women ain't shit, but I just said, I'm not getting married. I don't want to deal with anything. And anything that resembled anything that I had in my marriage, all of a sudden, that's when my walls went up. It wasn't, I still was cautious, but when the moment my walls went up, I'm like, oh no, I'm not dealing with this. And that was a detriment to me. It really was. And, you know, I'm glad in hindsight, and as the years have passed, I've been able to grow. But I never said, you know, women ain't shit, even though I just want to get married. Fuck that. I want to get married now, which is crazy. I need to see you in a 3-piece suit.
I want my tux, baby. I'm gonna put that tux on. That's it.
You
That's
know.
what I want.
Yeah, for all you know, if I'm getting married, she's my best man. Just
I'm
to let
about
you know.
to listen. I'm about to put your ass on Married at First Sight.
I can't with
swear
that
to God,
fucking show, bro.
I'm gonna find. Listen, Married at First Sight, Love After Lockup, or Love During Lockup.
I'm gonna be pen pals with felons. I'm gonna find love behind bars.
I'm gonna find you a wife.
Conjugal visits. I mean, might as well. Why not?
Because I really want you to get married. I want you to get married.
I do. I love like that.
Fabi wants to be a flower girl.
Is that on your bucket list, Fabi?
But no, you know, and at the end of the day, I want, if anyone gets involved with him, come at me and tell me, you know, the good things about him. You know, it's not always bad.
And it's not you. I'm pretty sure so many people go through that. They have best friends and they'll call their boy, yo, he ain't shit. Or a female will call her best friend, oh, he ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. And then post it all over social media. And then a week later, they're taking pictures because they're on vacation. Like, what fucking happened? Like, if a person ain't shit, like a man ain't shit, like, wouldn't you then make that decision right there? That's it.
You definitely have to be careful with social media because, you know, we tend to sometimes take social media and say it's not our real life, but sometimes it really is your real life.
Patty said something and it just clicked on me. Like, women
just
say
clicked on you,
it just clicked on me.
It just clicked on you.
It clicked on me. Just
Patty, you're clicking on him, Patty.
So she said, men always say that I'm not getting married again. And I think that's...
Where's the button?
What button?
Fairy tales and lies.
No. She has a point because as the phrase for women when they go through a breakup is men ain't shit. Men, when a marriage doesn't work out, you are 100% correct. I'm not getting married again. And it's our version of men ain't shit. And instead of saying women ain't shit, no, I'm not married again. No, I'm not getting into a relationship. And yeah, you're right. Yes, it did click on me.
It clicked on you.
She has a point. She has a point.
Yeah, you know, and that's the hard part, you know, when you want to be able to support someone when they're going through a bad breakup, but you know, when you're not in that relationship, you have to stand back.
Look, Sony watches that show too. I can't with y'all. Like, go read a book or something, bro. Holy shit.
No. So fun fact. I was here the other day and Nelson walks in. It's Friday night and I'm watching
got paid. It's Friday night.
I'm watching Love After Lockup and he sits down and he's like, "What are you watching?" I said, "Oh, Love After Lockup," and he's watching and he's sitting there and I turn over because he's very quiet and Nelson, it's very rare that Nelson's quiet and he's extremely quiet and when I look over, he's just like very like he's sitting there like this.
I'm stoic.
And he's very, very. I'm like, "Where is he?" So I'm like, "Yo, you good?" He said, "This is some fucking bullshit. I'm fucking out here, 50 fucking years old, and I can't find fucking nobody, and these motherfuckers are all getting love after lockup. Really? Is that what I gotta fucking do?" You know, and it's very difficult.
I'm taking applications. If you do not check the box that says, "Have you been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor?" you are not included in the list. Okay, that's it. I'm throwing it out there. Felons and misdemeanors. I'm right here with open arms. I'm ready.
No, but you know, but I'm not gonna lie.
Watch your mouth, Sasha. Watch your mouth.
Here's what I'm not gonna lie about. Here's what I told you, and I'm always telling you this. You fucking come in with your goddamn cape on like Superman, right? And then you get comfortable. That's the fun fact. You get comfortable, right? And I think that when you get comfortable, that is when the females you've been with come into play with you ain't shit. That's how I see it, at least from where I stand. And I don't know why that is. You know, because I think, in my opinion, again,
I give with no expectations.
I think you give like 500% in the beginning.
I
and
do.
I'm not saying that you become complacent, but I think I've told you this before, that you always find in the middle, I don't know why, like it's self-sabotage. In the middle, you always find something.
Yeah, there's I realize that sometimes I'm like, because there's something missing. And like you said, I go like when I'm ready to like really I want to get into a relationship. We're vibing. I go at this point in my life. I go all in. You know what I'm saying? I go all in, and I don't get that, even though I'm not expecting it. But what happens is I don't get the same reciprocal energy at times that I do. And you know what? I completely understand, because I am me, and this is the way I am going to be. And because I am in a better place, I am going to be me. If I'm feeling you, I'm going to give 500, 1,000%. If you give me nothing, I'm going to still be giving you 500%, because that is who I am. I got to stay true to myself. Now, eventually, I'm going to have to come to a crossroad where I have to make a choice. That if I'm not getting what I need in the relationship, or it's not working for me, or I'm missing something, then I have to come to a choice. And if I stay there and continue being me, I am making a conscious choice to continue and trying to, I guess, work on the relationship. And while that is a detriment to me, it is my true me. Mm-hmm. And I can't fake it. I can't be someone who I am not.
But here's my thing, and I think Patty said this. Here's can you scroll up?
Yes, you can. Use
it out there.
There you go. You know how to use a mouse? You know how to use a toy?
Yo no uso la mano izquierda.
You don't? You should
use your right hand.
You should be ambidextrous.
Your right hand has a big muscle, right? Use your right hand and fix that. So I can see Patty's comment, because I agree with you, Patty. And Patty said here, IMO. What's IMO? I don't know what IMO is, but the women that say men ain't shit haven't taken accountability. In my opinion, thank you. Yes. In my opinion, the women that say men ain't shit haven't taken accountability for what they tolerate or allowed, and that is like, I swear, the ding dong, the
kudos, Patty, kudos.
That is like
absolutely
the ding ding ding.
Let's repeat that.
I swear, if there was a prize, you would get it.
Patty said, or your Instagram people, your Instagram, YouTube. Okay, listen, the women that say men ain't shit have taken no accountability for what they tolerated or allowed in their relationship. Exactly. And that was my whole point. Staying in that mindset, first of all, doesn't allow you to be vulnerable and to actually enjoy a very successful relationship. And then you don't take accountability for how you created whatever chaos happened in your relationship, in your previous relationship. Like I said, it takes two to tango. There's always two people that, in most cases, two people really could have made different choices in a relationship that the outcome would have been different. But we choose not to because of emotions or so forth and so on. Not to say that some men ain't shit and do some fucking dirty shit, just like some women. But for the most part, we're focused on the small percentage of negativity or things that need to work on a relationship, instead of flourishing in that 80% and just working on the other 20% to decrease it.
Only Lorraine on IG said, acknowledging that they aren't shit doesn't mean you've tolerated or allowed. And that's correct. However, it's like, in my opinion, we have the tendency to always point the finger at someone else before we look at ourselves,
because it makes you feel better.
And I've learned that. And what I do now is like, you know what? It's nobody else's fault. This shit is my fault. Why? Because I allowed it. And if whatever I allow,
is that a phone call?
Whatever I allow, that's what is. That's not me. That's not on nobody. That's a me problem. That's not a you problem.
We got to call. Who's there?
I think I know who that is.
Who's there?
Because I think they already said.
No call? Oh, man. Got me all excited for nothing. Now I can't stand up.
We finally agree on something now. It's hard. It is very hard to take accountability. And it's so easy for us to say, and I'm going to say us, right? Men ain't shit. It is. For example, in my relationship, right? When I turned and I said, he's shit. Again, it was because I was in a position where it's like I wanted certain things. And I needed certain things, and I wasn't getting it. And what I wanted it fucking now.
Remember, there's a difference between wants and needs.
Very big difference.
Big difference.
Very big difference.
We don't get what we want. We get what we need.
Very big
in
difference.
life. There's a big difference with that. And most people try to get what they want. They want to hear what they want to hear. They want to get what they want to get. And that's not how life works. You get what you need. And you get what you need because it's what you put out there. So if you stay in that mindset, you're gonna get exactly what you're putting out into the universe. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Oh, Super Mega Producer, I think I'm gonna need my other chair. This chair is not comfortable for me.
Okay.
Super Mega, would you mind? Please?
Aye.
Please. Thank you. TV said the outcome is breakup, yet also can take positive aspect from that experience.
Every breakup, every relationship is a learning experience. There is honestly, there should be nothing negative that you take out of any failure. We need to fail because that way, if we fail, we know what we need to correct and we grow from there. I mean, we can't say, okay, I broke up and I'm never going to be in a relationship again because this asshole did A, X, Y, and Z. And you're never going to be in a relationship if that's the case.
I think that what we can say is, in general, if we're going to talk about men, I would say that men who don't grow, who stay in the same cycle over and over and over and over and over and over and over, unfortunately, I will then say that man ain't shit.
Yes, because you're not learning. You're absolutely not learning. All right, we're going to do some modifications and technical difficulties because someone isn't comfortable in a chair. It ain't technical at all, but, this is logistics. See, if you didn't have to take off your headphones. I'm just letting you know to sit on a different chair.
No, I just didn't want to ruffle everything. I wanted just to...
Ruffle? Like this?
Meaning
this
I didn't
is
want
long.
to make a lot of noise.
I could just put you on mute, nigga.
First of all, that word is not supposed to be in the vocabulary.
Oh my God! Here we go.
That is a bad word.
It is not a bad word.
No, I don't like it.
All right. Oh, liking it and being a bad word are two different things.
No diga esa palabra. Punto final.
But listen. I love my retard. I love my retard
don't say
T-tars
that
too.
word either. I don't like that word.
I love my retard T-tars out there. Eddie, Sony.
That's not nice. Don't say that word.
But they're nice.
Those words are not said on this show. You are banned from saying that word.
You can't ban me from my own show. What's wrong with you?
The N and the R word.
What kind of bullshit is that?
I don't like it. Those are words that don't exist.
Yo, Fixer.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Fixer.
Woo!
Do you appreciate it?
So much better.
Are you going to show him some appreciation later? Are you going to show him that men ain't shit? Are you going to do that?
Listen, I try my best every day to remind him how much I appreciate him, how much I love him.
You've been
and
I
don't say I'm in love with you because that's BS. You know what I mean?
Why is that?
Because you're not in love every day with the person that you're with. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, so that's a whole nother topic.
Interesting.
That's my opinion. That's like Patty said, IMO.
Interesante. These acronyms are killing me, bro.
We have a lot of comments on Facebook. We also have Aragon. But yes, Mama, that chair that my back was on fire.
You loved it and everything like
that. No, that my back was on fire.
Well, that's because it's your back. It's not the chair, bro.
Thanks. It was the chair because I feel so much better right now. We have a lot of comments on Facebook. We have a lot of comments. Somebody put here, Sony. I keep calling you Sonny and I apologize. Sony said, I once read givers have to set strong boundaries because takers never do. I'm actually reading a book on setting boundaries because I needed a whole new refresher. My girl, Only Lorraine, was like, bitch, you need to set some fucking serious boundaries. So I'm working on that. I hear you, Mama. I hear you. And you are correct. That yes, set strong boundaries because takers never do. That is absolutely correct.
So why don't you just eliminate the takers from the life?
We have, excuse me? Because I think we can set boundaries. We don't have to remove somebody. That's a whole different topic too.
Absolutely.
We don't have to remove somebody from our life. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to write these down. These are excellent.
We can just do, listen, I would like to be there for you right now, but right now I can't be there for you, there's just a whole lot of it. There are a lot of comments on Facebook and I don't want to ignore our audience's comments because they're very, very important to us.
What else?
So we have Jr. Gorif said Ace. Nah, you can't say that. Not cool. I am with you on that, Mia. Try to elaborate a little bit so that we know exactly what you are.
She said the N-word.
Oh, absolutely. Yo, Jay is with me like 100%. We're not about that life. We are so not about that life.
That's another podcast topic.
So not about that life. We have Eileen here that said, I think that it's very interesting. You can be in love with someone, but then no, there are times where you don't like them very much because of their actions. Agree.
That's fine.
I agree. I agree with Nelson. Fabi, what do you agree with Nelson? Sasha, I read you like people less until you no longer love them. I read you like people less until you no longer love them. I read. She said, I read you like people less until you no longer love them. Really? That's
Yo no entiendo.
That's really deep.
It is, but
you like people less until you no longer love them. I don't know because my love for my husband is much deeper than it was for day one.
But was it really love then in the first place?
Because there's a difference between love and being in love.
You think so?
I could easily meet you.
That's the other topic.
I could easily meet you. Absolutely. I could easily meet you and I can actually say, you know what? After meeting you and hanging out with you, I can actually say, damn, I really love this person. You know, they've made a difference in my life and I love this person.
But loving, you're talking about in general loving a person. But
no, I'm just saying there's a difference between being in love.
Right.
Being in love is a feeling, right? And it comes and it goes. We don't feel the same thing every day.
I don't think
we don't have butterflies. I don't have butterflies. I'm sorry, super mega producer. I love you. Butterflies are not flying in my stomach every day. My heart ain't fluttering every day.
Not even
my heart is fluttering, but my heart is fluttering because we're succeeding in building our relationship, you know, but it's not like those queasy feelings 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah, but is love, can you really describe love as butterflies and that anxious feeling? Yeah, that's a topic for another day.
Okay, Alex said I need that topic. So you want to just throw it out there? Well, the difference between being in love and loving someone.
That's like another hour.
No, we could do that. We could do that topic next week.
Yeah.
Throw it out there.
Okay.
All right. So next week's topic, we already doing it.
Love or in love?
No.
The difference.
The difference between.
Well, if you would have let me finish my sentence, you would have known it.
Can I just put you on mute for a second? I want to mute him.
Look, the mute button's right here. Look. You can't hear me.
Oh, you mother effer.
Okay, that's how you mute someone.
So we have Fabi. If you don't respect the boundaries, then bye. Absolutely. Sasha said the more they hurt you, you like them less. That's correct. That is correct. But whose place is it to let the other person know that you're hurting? Right? Because that's another thing. We hurt sometimes and we don't know how to express that hurt in a constructive and the
delivery
positive manner, right? We'll either shut down and stay quiet, we'll give attitude. And when I say give, I'm talking about men and women. And I do that with my husband. When I see that his nostrils flare and he's huffing and puffing, I'm like, are you okay? I think I did that today, right?
So you're saying that when you hurt, you love somebody less?
I'm not saying that.
You agreed with it.
She's no. I didn't say that.
Yes,
no.
Agreed with Sasha.
No, I did not. I did not.
She agreed with Sasha.
No, go back down to what Sasha said.
So how many times?
They said the more they hurt you, you like them less. I didn't agree with that.
Okay, so you said yes.
No, she said yes to the previous comment.
So how many times can a person hurt you in a 20-year marriage for you to say I'm done?
Well, that's a choice the person has to make.
Yeah, but that shouldn't dictate how your love level.
No, it shouldn't. But if you stay in that relationship, that means that you want to work on that relationship. You know, for the most part, there are people that, and that's another topic like coda. With a whole bunch of topics.
Codependence. Coda is Codependence Anonymous.
So that, you have those people that are dependent on someone else to feel that life force, and that's a completely different thing.
Sasha's like, I got a call. Super mega producer has to come to the mic. Super mega producer, you have to come to the mic. So
Yeah,
we don't have the third one. Wait, but can you scroll back up on the comments on Facebook?
Stop touching the thing. Just let me know.
It's that you're not doing your job. Do your job.
What's my job? Explain to me.
Because there's some comments there. I miss that feeling of butterflies. And Evie, I'm gonna get personal. You missed that feeling of butterflies. So
what?
I missed that feeling of butterflies.
Oh, okay, that's not what you said before.
So Evie, you missed the feeling of butterflies, right? And again, we're veering off the topic. I'm so sorry, but I want to address everybody's comments. You know, I don't want to be rude. You missed the feeling of butterflies. So what would you do? Not the other person. What would you do so that you can get that feeling? You know. We have also Joanna. That's where conversation comes in. Mature conversation, a mature relationship with proper communication. It gets discussed. That's Sasha. TV said, "Damn."
I need you women to include understanding. I know conversation is important. I understand communication is important, but without understanding, conversation and communication is shit. And that's what a lot of you women, and I'm gonna say it, a lot of you women tend to but I communicate and I have a conversation, but is it being understood? Is the delivery the way that it should be that a person can understand that? Men aren't fucking mind readers.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Many times, in many cases, that's exactly what, but you didn't get the cues? What the fuck does that mean? What, we're going to go play pool? What the fuck is a cue? You didn't get my hint? No. I mean, and I say that doesn't work for me. I am fucking straightforward.
Sasha said I got a call.
So
butterflies are lies. No, hardcore butterflies are not lies. I think they come and they go. For me, they come and they go. I gotta defend Mia. Hey, Danny, what's up?
And this is another thing, and this is just my experience. A lot of women.
TV said, I give myself butterflies. You give me butterflies, boo-boo.
Listen,
I love it.
A lot of women, you can't be truthful to. You can't be truthful. A lot of women say, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
You know what? You're absolutely right, because I know that you have told me about some conversations you've had with your significant others, and I look at you like, you really said that? Like, you really, really said that? Like, I'm in shock sometimes. I'm like,
and this is the thing. I've tried everything. I've tried every type of delivery. I mean, and obviously women are all different. And
hi, Trina. Good evening.
It's difficult to try to gauge and try to tiptoe. So I've tried going around 6 blocks to get to a point, or going straight forward, or notes, text messages. And at the end of the day, honestly, you don't know if it's going to work or not. So I got to tell you true to myself. I'm going to tell you fucking blunt as it is. I have worked on my...
extremely, like, blunt. Like, there's times he says things to me and I just look at him like, did you just say that? Like, he'll just be like, you're really fat. Like, you're really fat.
Yeah, there's no such thing as
like,
big
you're the
bone.
fattest I've ever seen.
What the fuck is big bone? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, holy shit. But, like, it's just not... It's not conducive. Like, I have to say true to myself. Like, if I can be completely transparent with you and be upfront with you and understand that
Trina wants me to say hello, compi.
Hi, comadre. Love you.
So sorry. Betty Rose, what's up? I'm so sorry I don't mean to interrupt you. Yes. Angie, welcome, mama. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I've had to, I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I need to be just me. And I've worked on my delivery and it's a lot better. And again, that still doesn't mean that she's going to work. But I have to be just 100% transparent. I'm going to put it all out there. Not everybody's going to like me, and that's fine. I don't give a fuck. If you don't like me, you don't like me. I'm not here to please you. Absolutely not.
We have Alba on Facebook. I love her Spanglish. Si tu pareja no te escucha.
Hi, Alba.
Well, time to move on, because si no te escucha en el comienzo, menos después. It depends, porque a veces uno tiene que decir cosas.
You know why I love this? I coached her. She's very young.
Is she?
Yeah, she just recently got married. Hi, Alba. I hope everything is well. But I coached her in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very well said. Very well said.
Very well said. Yeah, very well said.
Buen hecho, Alba. Buen hecho.
Very well said.
See, Mo knows, like, I'm very transparent. Mo and me have known each other for a very long time.
Yeah. Sometimes I think Well, it's never a bad thing to be too transparent, but sometimes you do have to look at, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Eileen said it, the delivery of what you're saying and how you say it.
But
because I do know sometimes you, like me, I tend to deliver things in
Hello, Ms. Rivera.
In a really, really horrible way. And and it's like I get checked on and I'm like, yeah, and yeah, I did say that. Fucked up.
Right. There is when you're emotionally charged, and that's when usually the delivery doesn't come out well, and that's understandable. But I've learned, okay, I need to. That's when you, like you say, pause, listen, and then speak.
That's not what I said.
Okay, what did you say? Come, because you're gonna clarify me anyway. I swear, bro.
Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
That's what
Y'all got that? Y'all got that, right?
Jatu, hey, Miss Ray, how are you? But no, I mean.
So even if you see, this is the thing. If you're trying to watch a delivery, if you're trying to gauge a person, if you're trying to see how you can approach this person, that's a lot of work. Like, and when you're saying to a man, I want the truth, and the man gives you the truth and you don't freaking like it, and then you hold that against that person, then who's really the problem? Because the truth is
who's
never
really the problem, or who really is putting more stress on the or strain on the relationship.
Right, because truth is never
easy.
Roses and rainbows. That shit does not exist. Truth can be bitter. It can be cruel. I mean, it could be enlightening as well. And we're all seeking the truth. So if we're all seeking the truth that in our lives, then why can't people can't handle it? And that's the biggest issue there. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, some of you women. And
you obviously you're saying a lot.
Oh, I'm saying a lot. It's just, and again, I'm not generalizing. I'm speaking on experience, personal, and friends, and so forth and so on. And I'm pretty sure everybody out there as well has in the same boat with friends and family members, and their own personal relationships have gone through trials and tribulations. But, down to its core, I think we need to be truthful. I respect anyone that tells me the truth. I might not like it, but goddamn, I gotta respect you for it, and I gotta give you kudos. I don't have to like the truth, but if you are telling me, at least I am an adult enough and a mature enough adult that then I come to a decision when you give me the truth. Right? You gotta give a choice.
Right. And here's Hardcore on IG. She said, at the end of the day, be loyal and don't tell anything they don't need to know. Please don't hate me for this. And that's the hard part when people do tell the truth. It's not accepted and it's a struggle, right? Because you don't want to hear those hard truths. You don't want to hear those hard truths. Patty said, truth slapped me in the face in my last marriage. Had to swallow it, though, no point intended. That was last week's topic, swallow. The reverse is the same. Men can't handle the truth. Yeah, men can't handle the truth. But again, I agree that it is the delivery of what you say
I think
and
it's
how you're saying
it's the most important part, But you got to understand, I mean, even if the delivery is a little charged, you got to understand it's where it's coming from. If there's no malicious intent, like when you just use the example, I said, "Yo, damn, you've been fat. It's the biggest I've ever seen you." I'm not saying it to put you down. I'm not saying it to disparage you or anything of that nature. I'm saying it, yo, I'm worried about you. I love you. This is unhealthy. I'm seeing signs. I don't want you. I want you here for the next 50 years that we're on this earth, and that's we have that understanding that we could be truthful with each other, and it's unfortunate that people can't be that way. And I can understand in relationships because you allow your emotions to dictate your reactions, and that's a problem. We have to discipline our emotions and then come into a cohesive unit between your mental and your emotional state.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to, in my opinion, like, I know when I'm going to say something and it's possible that the person is going to hear, Because also you could say something, but some people need to actually hear the words. For example, what I'm about to say may hurt you. It may affect you. It may make you feel a certain way, but please understand that those are not my intentions. And if what I'm saying to you is not, you're not understanding it, and then let me know, because then I'll change it up. You know what I'm saying? I'll change it up.
I've done that. Still doesn't work. And again, it just didn't work in that situation. That it's probably the most viable option? Absolutely. But does it work all the time? No. And I really think it's just a matter of people being self-reflective on themselves. And like, when you say, do you want the truth? Do you really want the truth? Like, can you really handle it? Can you really digest it? Can you really take the truth and then take a step back and absorb the information? Like, if you're in a loving relationship...
Sasha's about to get on the next plane, I think.
When we were talking about that, she was like, all right, if I'm down there, can I be a guest? I said, absolutely. I know you got a lot shit to say, bro.
Absolutely. We have Alex chiming in. She says, but then on IG, but then they say, how does someone else know what you mean? Not mind readers. Agree, it has to be explained to be understood. Talk to me like a child. Most people don't know how to explain. And sometimes you have to go to that simplicity. Sometimes you really have to go.
And I've done that too. And I've been told that, oh, why are you talking down to me? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I try to talk to you in a civil, mature manner. That doesn't work. So then I try to, and I'm sorry to say it, but I try to dumb it down, and then you feel a certain way because I went down 10 octaves, or I started speaking in simpler words. You can't please everybody. And then in that case, you need to look in the mirror and see your shortcomings at that point. Like, if I'm trying to try different avenues in which way to deliver a message, and none of the ways that I'm trying is you don't feel comfortable, then what the fuck? Then what's the problem? Like, if you can't feel comfortable in being uncomfortable, you might as well just go into a cave and live like a hermit and don't have any contact with any human being whatsoever.
I think we've now generalized our topic. And can you scroll down, because there was a
You mean scroll up?
Whatever it is, just freaking scroll so I can see the prior comments, because I saw something that I really resonated with. And it's JR. She said, people on Facebook said, people that say deeply in love are willing to face the fact that they are not feeling love for their partner all the time. Couples who manage to stay in love know that the grass isn't always greener donde los vecinos. Oh shit. We all have those single friends. And hear the horrors of dating. While it may be, this is really long. While it may be tempting to explore a new relationship or interest, or just walk out on your spouse, those of us who stay in love and together know that people come with their own set of flaws. You have to be happy with who you have and actively work together to remember why you chose each other in the first place. Also, if you're married, remember that you vowed to be together for better or for worse. I never said those words, Jay. I'm just letting you know. I just said I do. I have been through it. I've been through it out. And somehow we managed to get back on track when we are with end. Listen, that's why I said my man got to marry me all over again, because I need to say for better for worse, Papi.
Love is work.
I do tell you all the time where we at. We're always in love. Listen, we're always in love, and we're always in war.
Love is work. Love isn't just you love and then that's it. It takes, every day is a process. You grow, you get better at it. It's just not you just sit back, kick it back, and we're gonna be in love. And stop fucking with the fairy tale. This one right here. Fairy tales lies. Stop watching these fucking movies and The Notebook and thinking that's the way love is supposed to be. There's no manual. There's no fucking directions. There's no instructions. It is a work in progress every single day. And then
Sony said, I find it very condescending when someone speaks to you like a child. And it depends. It depends on the circumstance. Some people like simplicity. Some people don't like complexity. Because I know myself, there's times that I'm very complex in my delivery of what I say. And Hardcore said, because you're a coach, so I feel you need a strong woman to understand where you're coming from. Ooh. All right, you're a coach. If you don't understand you, if they don't understand you from the jump, then they're not the one. That's interesting.
That's an interesting
that's
topic.
interesting. I can't see because couple counseling's work. Yeah, it depends. It depends on couples counseling. Agreed hardcore. Nell definitely needs a mentally and emotionally strong and open-minded woman by her side. You know what I've always told Nelson? I've always told Nelson he needs a very, very independent woman. Meaning she got it all going on for herself and she doesn't need a man with a cape. That's what I've always said.
But I've had women like that they're independent.
No. With all due respect. With all due respect.
Even my last one?
My man. My man.
That's
my man.
Emotional.
That's with all due respect. And I'm sorry if I sound judging, but again, I've seen you go in with your fucking cape on and your S on your mother effing chest and ready to save the fucking day, and you save the day and you revamp this person's world and then you get shitted on. Those are facts. And this is is with love. I've said this to you all the time. Stop going in with your S on your motherfucking chest.
But that's why.
And allow a fucking woman to open the goddamn door for you. Allow a woman to pull out the fucking chair for you. Allow a woman to put money on the table for you. Allow a woman to plan a trip for you. Allow a woman to do equally what you do for a woman.
Notes?
Because at the end of the day, this is all that you do from jump. You're a gentleman, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? But I know there comes a point that you said, I want it all reciprocated.
Yeah,
right? But you're not gonna. Yes. That's not gonna. You don't do that. What you need to allow is to stand back, mother effer, stand fucking back. Because there are some women that know how to do that.
No, my words.
There are no. Listen, you could tell a woman you don't got a dime in your pocket, and if that woman wants to get to know you, facts. Super facts, she'll invest in you.
That's why I want felon and misdemeanor people. That's on my checklist. There we go.
No, I'm just saying.
They don't got a pot to piss in. They can't get a job. They don't have somewhere to live. They're good.
You can't force somebody. It's like they say, you can't fucking force a horse to go drink the water. That's just how it is. You cannot at all. And that's my anger sometimes. And I say anger because I get angry with you because you put it out there. You fucking put your heart. It's like that. That's what you do. And I'm like,
let's clarify.
Okay.
Not with everybody, but when I'm in a relationship, I go all in. Like, that's just me. That's who I am. And especially if I'm really into you.
Sasha,
sure.
I'm a very independent woman, but this is what I learned also. Independent women also have needs, right? Because when we take charge, I lived by myself for a very long time, and I didn't know what it was to depend on somebody else. And I was always the one taking care of everything, and I got exhausted, super exhausted. And the way I was conveying that was by being nasty. The way I was conveying that was by just isolating myself, as opposed to turning to my partner and saying, you know what? I know I got everything. I know I can take everything on my own. But you know what? I need you to please help me.
And that's where a lot of that goes. And women straight to, well, he ain't fucking shit because he ain't helping me with this. He ain't helping me with that. Blah blah blah. And then it's just a cascade effect. And all of a sudden, you were in a nice relationship, and it's very minor things. It's just very minor things, and it blows up in your face. Like, I'm not a person I was told you don't get angry. And I'm like, first of all, animals get angry. People don't get angry. Mad. I'm sorry. It's like, people get angry. Animals get mad. Well, you never get mad. I don't sweat the small stuff. And people say, oh, if you don't take care of the small stuff, it becomes bigger stuff. But no, I don't sweat the small stuff, because at the end of the day, life is just going to throw so many things at you that these small things are so minor considering the epic things that are going to be you're going to be confronted with. So I'd rather give my energy to something that's completely serious and a magnitude that needs to be like life altering, and I can, hey, let's tackle that. But no, like, hey, I'm going out with the girls and you went out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're not mad? No. Like, you really don't do it. You want to have girls night, you go on a trip. That's not a problem. Like, I'm not. I like, hey, go do your thing. a man and a woman should have their own independent lives, and then when they get together, they need to then create a different life meshing together. But they should never lose themselves in that relationship, and they should always have that independence outside of that relationship. And that's a great foundation to start with. I think in general, what happens is one gives more than the other. Mm-hmm. The other one resents it. Mm-hmm. And then in women's case, men ain't shit. And that's where it happens.
And I'm going to use my personal experience, right? Because, I'm a very giving person.
JR, not all small things build to a heavy load. It depends on what you put into importance. If you don't give the energy to small things in life, they do not become prevalent. They don't have any importance in it whatsoever. And if you take that attitude, these small things never end up being big things.
Here's one, like I was going to say, in my personal experience, I had to voice that I needed the load off my shoulders.
Ethel Ortiz.
And when I voiced that I needed, the stress off my shoulders and the load off my shoulders, it made a world of a difference. But here's the thing. My partner didn't know that I needed that. Why? Because my partner always saw me as that strong, independent woman. She got this. She don't need me. And I needed to let my partner know I do need you.
Because you can't read minds.
I do need you, and I had to say it. I do need you. And here's my other thing. As I told my spouse, there's times that I've said no to him when he's wanted something that I've always done. And it's like, well, you've always done that. Why are you now not doing it? You know what? Because if I die, I need to know you could do it. I need to know you can handle it. So I have to do that.
God forbid something happens to you.
Right.
Your partner has to then, I got to carry the load right now. And, it's understandable. Yeah. But it's where you're coming from. It's not like, I'm fucking tired, yo. You don't do shit. You don't help me out. And that's how most conversations end up. But you can even say it that way. But if you have that understanding with your partner where he sees, okay, she's emotionally charged right now, but what she's really saying, and this is where the mind reading, it only takes an effect because you've gotten to know this person at a scale that no one else has. So it's like what you can, like they say, you can finish your partner's sentences or you can anticipate what your partner's doing. That's getting to know someone. So at that point is where you understand the delivery isn't there, but you understand what the intent is. And the intent is, you know what? I want to make sure if something does happen to me, you got this shit. You got this covered.
And I'm going to be honest with you.
No,
I love to listen, I don't have any problem because this has been me since I was 16 years old working. And I have no problem with being the person to work and bringing home the dollars and him staying home. Honestly.
Damn, I want that.
I really don't. He could stay home because I know he'll take care of everything.
Super mega producer, you heard that?
Listen, we've talked, not sit on your ass because you do, I'll put you to work in the house. Hello.
Wow.
I'll put you to work. But sometimes, and I always tell him, it's not even if I die, but if I become disabled, if something, whatever happens, we both have to be able to sustain our castle. We both have to be able to take care of the responsibilities that we have. Just today I even told him, I said, listen, I have to share our passwords with our bills because that's something that you don't have. If something happens to me, he won't know.
I got to answer a question from Angie.
So, it's just, I want a partner to enjoy these conversations with me and to learn. And you'll find that partner. If you'll find that partner, that it's very hard to find a partner that will be willing to be open and be real.
Everybody says they want the truth and they're willing to open, and then when things get difficult and complicated,
Super
they give
producer,
up.
They're saying that you need a chair up front.
He'll come around. Angie on Instagram says, "Hey Nell, the topic."
Just scoot over.
Pay attention.
What the hell?
Angie says, "Hey Nell, the topic of the episode is men ain't shit. Have you come across a time where you thought that women weren't shit?" My mindset has never been that women are shit. My mindset when I was younger, let's clarify that, I was married and I didn't want to get married again. and because of that, I swear, Ray, you're a hot mess, bro.
Ray, why are you hiding behind the tree, Mama?
A Christmas tree.
Why are you hiding behind that tree?
So I never wanted to get married again. That was my mindset, and that mindset prevented me from flourishing in subsequent relationships. But I never said women ain't shit. I love women. I love what women bring to the table. It's just I thought I found my person, and obviously I guess I didn't. And it's just a work in progress. But I've never considered. It took me a while to get in a good mindset where I was in a relationship. The relationship didn't work out, and I was okay with it. And I didn't allow that bad experience to affect any future relationship. So, but it took me a while. I what, mid-30s, I guess, when I finally.
Hi, baby.
She said no. So it took me a while, but I've never considered women ain't shit at all. I just didn't want to get married.
And I can vouch that it, and this is not even because he's my ace, because I don't rock like that. If he's wrong, he's wrong. And if he says something wrong about a female or anyone, that I think that it's out.
Yeah, I've never even done that.
I've never heard him.
I've never said this fucking bitch and all this.
Hurt. He's expressed that he's been hurt. He's expressed his pain. But I've never heard him say
even hurt, even damaged, even emotionally scarred. I've never said, you know what, this fucking bitch, fuck this and all that. I've never. And honestly, the closest I've ever come to that type of attitude is when I got divorced, and it wasn't. Hi, Nina.
Hi, baby. Come. Your shirt. That's a new shirt.
Okay.
My baby's home.
You need to carry a whistle now, baby. Like a referee.
I love you, baby.
But the only time that I've actually had a bad, and I told her, this is exactly the words I told her. I had a bad taste in my mouth. I was very sour when I was divorced. And it wasn't because of the actual relationship that I was disappointed that it didn't work out. Yes. I got a bad taste in my mouth because of the way the divorce went in court. The proceedings, I was vilified. I was a freaking docket number. I wasn't even a person. That whole experience, I correlate with being married because it could be a consequence of the relationship not working. And I did not want to go through that. I went through a 2-3 year divorce that got dragged out, and she wanted everything, and it was horrible experience that my subsequent relationship suffered and did not flourish because of that, and most likely ended because of that, because I was in such a shitty state of mind, and it was so noticeable because it was every day. Every day I had this attitude, I had this aura, had this bad energy, and it just wasn't positive at all. And it took me a very long time to be able to get rid of that. It's difficult, it's hard. But I am glad that I am no longer in that type of state. Even with my last relationship, I am still not in that type of mindset, and even though this has been the most heartbreaking of all, I still don't have that mindset because I can't, because I've learned that it's just not healthy at all. I see another mic.
The super mega producer is gonna join us. He's gonna join us. He's getting ready.
He's gonna try. Try.
Yeah, it's hard, and I want to go back to people are not bad, right? It's people's actions.
We make bad choices.
And choices.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that just give that appearance. And when I say to give that appearance, it's not an appearance because we observe and we see. And sometimes, cool, thanks for sharing. But Angie thanked you. But at the same time, you're gonna be in the middle, puppy?
Angie, I hope I answered your question as best I could.
And I want to say this to the ladies, and I'm going to say it to the men. Expectations, right? We all have expectations. You know what the hard part about expectations are? You set yourself up for disappointment. And I understand that, yes, should we receive what or should we not lower our expectations of what we want? Yes. But should we lower our expectations for what we need? Yes. But you got to think about it. What's more important, what you need or what you want, right?
Exactly.
And it's very, if you're a peer and you want that man to be a peer, right? But that man is still not there. You have to you could build it up. You could build it up. When I met my hubby.
Okay, let's clarify that. You did not meet your hubby. You cradle snatched them. That's for everybody in this and everybody in the internet world.
I will listen. I will.
Yeah, go explain that one. Explain.
All right.
Explain, Lucy.
Okay.
Explain.
Okay, yo voy a explicar. He actually saw a viejita on the dance floor shaking her ass, right? And he took her by the hand and she said, "Este bebé está bien fucking sabroso, coño. Me lo voy a llevar." Y me lo llevé y me lo papié y está aquí 18 años y yo lo quiero con todo mi corazón. Facts.
Yo,
that is super facts.
Did you even know his name?
Yeah.
No, you did? Okay.
Yeah, at the time I used to call him, I gave him a name. I called him Buster.
That's right. Oh my God.
I called him Buster. And when I first met him, super facts, when I first met him, it was at Caliente Capco. And I was with Michael Mai. She's out there. And I know I looked at him and he sat in front of my drink. So, you know me. Yo tenía unos pantalones, yo era así, como una flaquita. I was really skinny, and I had on these little shorts and this little cute little black top. And he had this huge orange shirt, I remember, and a pair of black jeans. And
looking like a freaking safety
I know
code.
I went in the bathroom and I had to wipe myself a couple of times. I saw him and I was like, holy Lord.
15 seconds, huh? That
what?
15-second
I was
rule?
like, holy shit. But anyway, I went right in between his legs and I said, I need to get my drink. I teased his ass like a bitch could tease. And I walked away. I did sachet. I did the sachet.
I love it.
Mia, you left out the taxi ride. Boo boo. Actually, Jay, it's Buster with an A, mama.
Yeah, Buster, not Buster. Buster.
Yeah,
like Buster Rhymes.
It's Buster with an A. Let me move here. Hold on 1 second.
We going. He's gonna be a sandwich. He is gonna be the ham to the peanut butter. Ay, qué mira este hombre fuerte. Look at, mira este hombre fuerte. Ay, mira pa allá. Yo, you can sit low because you're like tall as a tree, so we're good.
Go.
Ay, yo.
I'm here, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
My Popeye is on. Popeye is on. Wait, but now you can't see me.
Where?
On IG. Oh, you can see me a little bit, Papi. We're gonna have to squeeze, baby. You heard?
What?
Just go. He's gonna get closer to you, not me.
Maybe I am gonna get closer to you.
You crazy? This one will kill me.
He's always in the middle of us.
Now, holy shit.
Look, you see Michael Myers said, I remember that night at Calientes. You remember, Mama?
First of all, don't talk about me when I'm not here. I didn't hear what happened.
Big Ben Sir. Oh, Sam said Big Ben Sir. I love you. You always called him that.
No, because she's talking, look, she does this.
Fairy tales and lies.
Talking about when I met my husband. You didn't meet your husband.
I told you.
You were still sucking your thumb when she got you.
My husband met me. He saw the viejita and he said, Espérate.
He wanted to see if you had Social Security or a retirement fund.
Oh, he happy about that Social Security check. Shit. He be ready.
I'm like, holy crap.
Shit. All right. I think I'm settled in.
You good? You good now?
Yeah.
My baby's here.
Ay, look at her. You don't got butterflies now?
Okay,
yeah, look at that. You need to go to the bathroom?
I just like when he's
That's what we dealing with.
You know.
Wow.
You decided to be in the middle, bro. Like, you wanted to come here? Because you said, no, I'm not going. And there you go. Go ahead. Come on.
Wow.
Completely.
All right.
Wait, I gotta go there to meet my future papi. Ay, Dios, Sasha, let's go. Ay, Dios mío.
All right.
All of y'all making plans. I don't know what papi you talking about.
All right. So he's here.
So I'm here.
He's
So
here.
what happened?
This is super mega producer. He's the one that has given us all our technology. We have an amazing setup here. And it's the best. The green room is also great.
The green room, the
we got
studio.
Baby, but we got the red room, right, Pa?
Muchacho.
Right there, man.
Where's the button?
There we go.
I gotta hit him with that.
I behave.
Yeah.
You want me to leave so y'all can have alone time with everybody else? You know what I'm saying?
Not on this camera.
That's an orgy waiting to happen right there.
We're having problems with IG. Is something happening with IG? The people out on IG. It says please try again later.
No, it's working.
It's working. It's working. Okay, it is working. I don't know what happened.
I can't.
So the place where they met. Oh, Caliente Cab Code. Mama, have a check of fuel, boo boo. Check of fuels are the best.
All right, look.
Mia took one look at Ben and was like, "I'm gonna have him."
That's actually accurate, Christina. That's actually accurate. Because what happened was prior to Caliente Cab, which she's not. I don't know if she mentioned it because I wasn't in the room.
Okay.
They had a meeting.
Who's they?
Her and her friends.
Okay.
Who I'm not gonna name.
We were in the bathroom. Yeah,
they had.
did.
No, this is prior to that day. There was a meeting. And I got the word like, she wants to talk to you. So I tried to give her a personal conversation. I went down to the bathroom.
Okay.
No, there was somebody else that wanted to have a personal conversation in the bathroom with me that night. It was a hot mother effing chick. She threw me up against the wall. No lie.
Where the fuck was I?
I was like 30 seconds. I missed it.
Yo,
where the fuck was I? I missed that story.
Mike could vouch for this, that I came out the bathroom and I was like, yo, I was just accosted in the bathroom.
That was all the time. Even after we met. That was like all the time. But anyway.
Christ.
So yeah.
But I check her fuse fuck
so
you
let's
up,
go
bro.
back to our topic. Men ain't shit. Let's go. What are your thoughts?
Want to hear my take on it?
Yes, please.
It's too many variables.
Okay.
I think you both had valid points. I think a lot of the listeners and the audience, they have valid points, but I think we all forget that there's always a story behind the man ain't shit or the woman ain't shit. Because I'm gonna put both, because they both do things that are just shit. Like
that's what I was saying, that people they point the finger, but they don't point the finger at themselves, saying, damn, what did I do to cause this, or how did I contribute? Oh my God!
That you realize that candle's on fire,
right?
Okay,
all right, it's lit. It's lit. Yeah. But that's what it is. People don't realize what they contributed to the situation.
Right, but there's always a story behind it. You know what I hate? I hate, and I'm gonna use personal because I can only use personal. When friends agree with one side.
Absolutely.
I hate that. So what happens is, in our case, and I'm going to use our case.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. I was young, and I was in a relationship 7 years prior to meeting Mia.
You were never in a mature relationship.
There you go.
Okay.
And it's nothing to take away from my son's mother, because at the time, I thought she was great. So I'm not going to speak bad about her. Did she have bad qualities? Yes. But that I never used that as a basis when I got with Mia.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Which is great.
Because in the reality, I was brand new in everything.
Okay, so it was a new experience to you.
In everything. When I first met Mia, I literally had a nickel in my pocket. She never turned away from me and said, oh, you're a broke dude. Like, I don't want to deal with you.
Which is great.
But she knew that I was working and I was still trying to be a better person. I wasn't a man yet. Because even though I was in that age and I was in the military, you know, and I was in the streets and I was doing whatever I was doing, she saw something that I didn't even know in me.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Okay. So I never thought of it in that aspect when I was doing the stupid shit that I was doing.
You were making bad choices, but didn't make you a bad person, and she saw that. She saw beyond that. In
that point, I don't know. But
evidently, because
but in that point, I didn't know. And most men won't know it until they fuck up and they want to realize it. A man is never gonna change unless they want to.
That's just people in general.
Well, I was about to say that, and that goes for women too. Like, a person will not change unless they want to. So I decided that I was hurt when I hurt my wife. I knew I was hurt. I fucked up. Now, a person that ain't shit would say, fuck her and go do whatever you're going to do. That's a person that ain't shit. because you did the wrong and you left that person less than what they were. Because I'm pretty sure that I left her insecure and everything after that.
Okay.
Facts.
Fair
so if I was a piece of shit for my actions, then you're a piece of shit for agreeing with that. Because you don't know all the sides and you don't understand my thought process.
You're just an enabling. You're just telling her what she wants to. I mean, what she wants to hear, not
and
what
that's
she
where
needs to hear.
and that's my stance on a lot of her friends, even to this current day.
Yeah, I got that just last night.
Yeah, even to this current day, and I'm not gonna say any names because there's other situations that happen.
You were real adamant about that one.
It happens. It happens. Just like. You know what? I have friends.
I'm really quiet because I want to know what was the conversation last night. You guys get into that studio and it's like a whole new world.
Without mentioning names, what happened is he mentioned someone and
who I had on my Facebook for almost a year,
and then he realized who he was, and he wanted me to confirm.
Not who he was, who she
was, and he wanted me to confirm. At first, I didn't know who he was talking about or what he was getting at. But then once he showed me the picture and then told me the story, I was like, oh, yeah, that's the same one. And he was like, what? Delete, block, everything. I was like, okay.
She's lucky I didn't call her.
You gotta let go of that. You gotta let go.
But I will say, none of my friends, you know, here's the thing.
It's not like this is a friend in your circle. Not a friend in your circle.
This person,
but just her actions
was that, and I'm saying this because I actually heard it from the horse's mouth. She agreed with you.
It wasn't speculation from a tarot
right.
reader.
She agreed.
She condoned what I was doing.
Exactly. She condoned what you was doing, and it was very negative. And it may have seemed like, oh, I'm going to cheer my girl on for now. But she never thought to herself like, oh, you're hurt. So you're going to hurt him now? Now let's have this conversation.
That's not really a friend. When you trying to condone bad behavior because bad behavior was given to your friend is not conducive to... fixing anything. And you're not being a friend.
Jay is confused. She's confused. What are we discussing? I know we have gotten from men ain't shit. So, Ben is explaining that, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, Ben was men.
I'm putting myself in men ain't shit.
Yeah, he was in a situation where he fit the description.
Right. And I felt like I fit that description only because people didn't understand my side.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And a man ain't going to be shit if he really doesn't care about you. But my actions don't make me a piece of a POS.
Now you're acting your choice.
My choice doesn't make me a POS. It's the actions that happen after it that makes a person a POS.
So that person knew what you made, what choice you made, right? But never knew the choices that you made to correct that and to improve yourself on that. And obviously, them not knowing that, decided, yeah, go get yours, mama. Do you, mama? Stupid. Go get that.
Okay. But one of the things that I always used to tell you, when we were in a bad place, I always used to say, I used to tell you, you're not a bad man. You just make bad choices.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right?
But that was always me, yeah.
And I will say, I hated you. There were times that I hated you. Yeah. He even put out a diss song.
Wow, we're going to that.
On YouTube. And it's on fucking YouTube. He put out a diss song and it's on fucking YouTube.
First of all, I didn't put it out. That's number one.
Well, you and your boys put out a diss song.
Some dude that I used to mess with before put it out and then text her and told her that I put it out. Oh, shit. That's how she heard about it.
Wow.
That's number one. Anyway, so that would make me a POS if I did do it and then put it out. But that's how I felt because music, that's how I let it out.
Right,
music.
That's your release. Look
at Sam. Sam said, "I remember that time."
Right, when I was young,
Sam, I
didn't know how to communicate with her. I didn't.
You didn't know how to.
I learned,
right.
Because I was young. I was in a relationship. I didn't know how to communicate. Everything that I have learned as far as being a man and a husband, I've learned from Mia.
On the job training.
And we've been married 18 years?
18 years.
Okay.
And just to put it out there, prior to being married for 18 years, we only dated for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It was, I want to say, maybe a year.
Yeah.
And then he went when we got married. He went overseas.
She just went in for the kill, bro.
The kill.
What? Holy shit! But I gotta give you guys kudos and because I've been part of this marriage for 18 years, and to say the least, there have been times that they have been very chaotic and
wait, I don't mean to interrupt. Remember now, and we're putting it out there because this is the truth. I remember my neighbor, hardcore, called me and said he's at the house and he's taking everything out the house. And I remember at that time,
I didn't even know that.
I had Alex sitting next to me, and all I did was cry, and Alex stood there and just let me cry. And then at the end of the week, I told Sam, because Sam was like really anxious, and I said, Mama, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all good. She said, but he's taking everything. I said, don't worry about it. It's all right. And I remember when I went to the house the first time and I didn't see anything, you did the waiting to exhale and you looked around the house and you were like, oh, he left this? And you were throwing shit out.
I was cleaning. I wasn't.
And I'm fucking in tears and shit. And he's here like throwing. He's like, oh, he left his hats. Fuck that. And he was throwing. And I was like, no, just put everything back in the house. No, fuck. And you did the waiting to exhale for me.
Yeah.
I remember because I was like literally on my knees.
You weren't in no capacity.
Right. I was just like floored. But at the end of the day, you know, again, this was our hard time, you know. And at that time, yeah, I said, he's a piece of, I said, what a fucking piece of shit. Like
while you made bad choices, and let me tell you, she's also made bad choices as well.
Absolutely.
But this is the part that I'm saying, that you see, like Sasha just said, men do it all the time. They have friends that do the same thing, but it's not just men.
It's just not men.
Women.
Exactly.
It's how we react to things that are shitty decisions.
Right. That's what leads to it. And then that's what I was saying.
I don't think she's a shitty person for doing what she did.
Neither of you.
But at one point, I was like, I was a bitch.
No, because that's the anger. That's the anger.
That's the emotionally charged, emotion.
I think that's where that term comes from, where men ain't shit.
Right, because
it's in the midst of that
you
anger.
allow your emotions to dictate how your mindset should be, which it shouldn't be. You should have a balance and a discipline.
Correct.
But like, I've been through these things. I've never judged you. I've always been your biggest supporter.
You threw my hat and said I was a piece of shit.
He did the waiting to exhale.
I did it
I
for
think
her.
if he had a lighter, he would have lit everything up.
Right? He judged me at one point, right?
No, that's the one thing I can say. Nelson never judged us.
I've always been the biggest supporter. I give kudos to both of you because some of the shit that you guys have gone through, most relationships have not lasted. And you have always, at somehow, some way, found each other at some point and continued to grow. Even though you've made mistakes, you've learned from the mistakes and continued to blossom in a marriage.
You know what I laugh about? You know what I'm laughing about, babe? You remember when we went to the child support hearing? We were the last couple, right? And the lady that was and I didn't take him to child support. He told me to take him to child support. Yeah. Those are facts. And we're sitting down. We're the last couple. And he goes, just give her whatever the fuck she's supposed to need. What she needs. I don't give a shit. And the lady was like, huh? And she goes, oh my God, you guys are like the most calmest couple. And this is super facts. What did we do after that hearing?
We got you.
Yeah, we went home and it was crazy. And we weren't together at the time, and he left. As sick as it sounds, and he left, and it was what it was. And I know that I don't know. I really don't know how we survived. But I do know that in him, I've seen growth. He was a piece of shit. He made shitty fucking decisions.
It was shitty decisions.
Like shitty decisions. And they destroyed me, but they made me so much stronger.
Let's get it clear, not to interrupt. I'm sorry. I am about
I'm
about 20 years younger than her, so I'm allowed to make young bullshit decisions. So let's get it clear. All right. So, but that's what it was.
But this is the important fact that, and then the point that we got to take from this whole topic is that you were shit at one point.
Right.
She didn't stay in that mindset because obviously you guys are here right now. You as well realized that what you did was shitty and then grew from that. and learn from that. And that's the whole premise of this thing of men ain't shit. If you stay in that mindset, you're just going to attract exactly what you're getting. But understand this, and they're a perfect example of where at one point or another, both of them were not shit to each other.
Right.
They are still right here next to each other. And that is the biggest thing that you need to get out of that. And that's what we're trying to convey, that even though we might make bad decisions or you might think your partner ain't shit at one point or another, the whole idea is if you really love them, you want to work at it. And if you work at it, you end up being in a much better place than if you just continue thinking of that way.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we're trying to convey.
Sila, what up?
And to be honest, Jay, he wasn't a teenager. When I met him, he was 25.
No.
24, 24,
No.
23.
No.
23, 24.
I was 23 years old when I met her.
All right.
No, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. We went through this like 15,000 times in this 18-year marriage. How do you not? I was 23 years old
Wait,
when
let's put it in perspective how you always say it. If she was in high school, where were you?
I just graduated elementary when she graduated high school. I'm sorry. So I was a baby. Okay.
Wait. When I was 5 years old, where were you?
He wasn't even a sperm.
He wasn't a semilla.
He wasn't even in a nutsack at that point.
So just to give y'all a little perspective of it's just understanding the situation. Like, yeah, okay, men ain't shit, but you got to understand the situation.
Right.
The man ain't shit based on his actions after the wrong decisions that he made. That's just a fact. Because to this day, I would be a piece of shit if
you continue making those bad choices.
No, if I would have just let her go. Because I loved her enough, and I knew that I loved her enough to say, I want to change myself. Absolutely. Because I fucked up.
Listen, this is what I would get. I don't want to be with you, but Valentine's will come. I'm downstairs. Come downstairs. I want to see you. Come get...
Come get this work.
That's the way you said it, huh? That's some military training right there.
And it's super me. It's like he's out there with a rose, and I'm just looking at him like, are you really serious?
No, she don't like flowers.
You needed the boom boxes. Yeah, say anything, and you have the trench coat and the radio right there.
Like that video
I literally felt like a fish.
What's
a
fish though?
I felt like a fish. Like he would reel me in, and then it's like, bitch, get the fuck back, go back out, and throw me out. And
you weren't in season.
Like he would be like, I hate you, but I love you, but I hate you, but I love you. Like,
and that's what it was.
That's what I was seeing. I was hearing him say, I hate you.
He was conflicted because
but I was seeing him say, I love you. Right. And it was hard. It was the
But it says a lot.
2 years of living separate and apart, of this tug of war. And I'm going to repeat it again, but I remember when I said I'm leaving to Florida.
Chacho, your hands are cold.
Are they, puppy? You hot.
Esa la menopausa, papi.
You hot right now.
Yo me voy pa casa. Ya bastante yo visto.
And he's being totally transparent, and I will tell you this, there's not one person that I know of that he hasn't been blunt and honest to, and admits that he's the man that he is because of me. And I don't take all that credit, because at the end of the day, it was your choice to change. It was your choice to grow. But what I used to also tell you, trust me. Yeah, right? Because you didn't trust me.
No, I didn't. In any aspect.
He also didn't trust himself.
He didn't trust me.
That's where I was going.
He can't trust you when he can't trust himself in making decisions that are correct. And that was the problem. Until he got into a space where he was able to feel comfortable in trusting the decisions he was going to make.
Exactly. And I think that's where men ain't shit comes from too, because women want to force the change, and when they can't get it, now you're a piece of shit. Now men ain't shit because
that comes with expectations. A woman is looking for something, and it can't. It can't be that. Love has to be. You need to love someone without any expectations, and however it comes, and then you make choices along those and along that journey. Yeah, that's all it is.
I remember that there was one thing that you said to me during our separation, and the one thing you said was, you know what, find yourself, because you lost yourself. And I never understood that. I was like, what? I lost myself. But then when I looked at myself and I was like, I did lose myself. I lost myself in you because I was so focused on taking care of you and giving you everything and making you happy that I lost my spark.
You lost your independence. That's what I lost. That's why both have to be independent.
I was emotionally dependent on him. But then it was hard because I was like, all right, I'm emotional. I know that I'm emotionally dependent on him, but now how do I find that balance, right? Where I don't become too cold, because then I became cold, and then that was an issue because now it's like, where was this emotional person? Now it's like I do this, I do that, and you don't give a shit. For example, even to this day, he knows I get into my office, I'm in a different zone, and I will get a text message and he'll be like, "Hello, remember me? Wow. Hello." And he'll come home and it's like, yo.
Don't worry, I feel the same way. Let's make this complete. You want to be completely transparent. This bitch decides not to want to answer phone calls or FaceTime or anything. Like, hello, you fucking breathing still? Like, you can be passed out in the fucking room and none of us will know.
Well, Sasha, I think what Mia's saying is her being into me and taking care of me, it took away from her independency, but it also made me complacent. And that's where I lost myself. And I started doing stupid stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So, Sasha, how do when men become dependent in a different manner? You need to explain. You need to explain. Elaborate on that.
All right, but we do have a question. What happens? And this is from Eileen. What happens when you know you love someone with all your heart, but know that this just isn't what it used to be? Well, remember, when it breaks. When something breaks and you can't put the pieces back together to make it what it was, you make it
something
better.
New. You make it something
new.
You
make it something new. So you don't ever want to look for what used to be. You always want it to be better than what it used to be.
If you break a plate, you can never put that plate back together the way it was originally. It's impossible. But what you can do,
the Chinese,
it's an Asian. I guess
they break it on purpose and
they break it apart. Yeah, and then
something new.
Yeah, their perspective is, if it break plates, then you take it and you make it into something new. You make it into something different. You know, and then that's where you build from there.
And then Ace also said, you want your partner to grow, but you also want to be able to grow together without necessarily. Why are you going up and down, motherfucker? Without necessarily changing each other.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this is, if you're still looking for how it used to be, or if you're still looking to change somebody while you're married maybe over 5 years, then I think maybe you need to reevaluate yourself. That's just me, and I mean no disrespect. I'm saying this because everything in life changes. And if you don't think your marriage is not going to change and you're not going to adapt to it, then you're wrong. You need to look at yourself, because maybe you need to adapt to the marriage as well.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because if you don't get that when you wake up every day and you think that the way you did yesterday, you're going to do the same thing same day, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Not. If I tell you what she used to do before we got married, muchacho.
What does she do before you got married?
She trying to read.
I get it now. The things, the activities, I got it.
But it's part of life. It happens, right?
Alex wants to know, Mia, would you say he's your person? And I'm going to say he's my love language. And I say that because at the end of the day,
so fancy.
The person that I would want he's not going to be able to give me fully that person, right? Because it's not what I want, it's what I need. He balances me out. You know, he's not perfect. And I will tell you, in the past, I was resentful of his commitment to music, right? Mm-hmm. And I would get upset and I would say, yo, it's all about fucking music. It's all about fucking music.
I remember that shit too.
It's never about me. It's never about me, you know? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to let him be. I'm going to let him be, let him do his music. I can't compete against his music. And I'm going to stand back and I'm going to let him do what he has to do. And honestly, I'm much happier, you know, because at the end of the day, I had to pick and choose my demons. I used to say, you know, he's doing music, but I know where he's at, right? He's doing music, and I know that he's putting his energy into something positive.
He can have. Men can have so many fucking vices.
I was competing against the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Because he could have been out in the streets doing 150 million other things. So, you know, we speak our love language. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, and we build on our weaknesses, and we build on our strengths. You know, there's times he gets loud with me. There's times I get loud with him. There's times that I curse at him. He curses at me. And you know, we're not perfect. You know, we're not perfect at all. But at the end of the day, you know, I think I want to say, and I say it all the time, we're at war with one another. You know, and I use that analogy.
You have to really, if you were to walk into this house sometimes, and honestly, if you did not know them, if you knew them like I knew them, you would just...
It wouldn't faze you.
It would not. It doesn't faze me. But if you walk into this house for the first time and not know them, or just know one of them, you're gonna say, "What the?"
It's happened before.
Fuck?
People
like,
be like,
"What
I think
fucking?
I gotta go."
What fucking dynamic is that? And I always say, you guys have this incredibly complicated, complex, chaotic dynamic, but it works for both of you.
Yeah, but you know what? It comes from not being a POS from the topic, right? It comes from that on both angles,
right?
Because she could have been.
The mindset isn't there. Right. The mindset is definitely not there.
You know what I'm saying? At the time, when she did whatever she did, and she could have said to herself, you know what? He treated me like a piece of shit at this time. Now I'm gonna move on and do this, that, and the third. But she realized it and said, you know what? The same way I did it.
Your choices, both of your choices could have been much more severe.
We lucky that change. But you know what? Back to what she's saying about my music, me being into my music. That's why I'm here now, because I went to war twice. I went overseas twice. And also I was always into music, and she's always supported it.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here too.
We didn't have to do that. But okay.
Yes. It needs to be said. It needs to be done.
I appreciate it. But my point was, that's the reason why I'm here, because I wanted to be a better man. And I said to myself, damn, when I was messing up and I was doing my stuff and she wanted the attention and everything, she was still supporting me. So guess what? She's going to law school. She needs to move to Florida. I'm going to be that man and support her. I'm not going to be a piece of shit.
Chase your woman.
You understand what I'm saying?
My man said, I'm going.
And I changed. And I changed everything. Mindset, my thought process. I'm a lot calmer whenever we do have certain conversations. And then, you know, I still have short temper and things like that, but that just comes with it.
You guys continually, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And you continually.
No, I describe it as, you know, we throw the grenade, and when the smoke clears, we're good. Alex, you know that song, right, Boo Boo? Love and War. When the smoke clears, in a second, we're hugging each other.
Y'all throwing the grenades, and y'all don't care who's in the area. You just throw them. Everybody got a duck. You know, like there's no warning here. Boom, flashbang. There we go.
That's war.
Shit, holy crap. Well, she's at times has come to me, and I said, this guy and his music, and I've told her, I said,
thank you, Sasha.
Understand, and like I said, men can have so many vices, and understand the energy that he pours into this. That's his passion. Like he's really never found something that he clicks with, and he finally found something that he clicks. And it can't be a negative if a person finds a passion in something and they want to pour all this energy and be creative and things of that nature, because only positivity comes from that. And obviously positivity has grown from that aspect of you putting your energy into that. And eventually she realized, I'm like, shit, yeah, he could be out on the streets, he could be doing fucking other shit. But no, I know where my husband's at. He's in the studio. He ain't hanging out with the boys. He ain't having drinks. He ain't drinking and driving. He ain't doing drugs. And, you know, those, like you said, sometimes you got to pick your battles when it comes to that. And, you know, that's what you do.
And I will say that
you're not shit right now.
Right now.
Right now.
As a man, though, you have to self-check. Like, you got to know that at some point you wasn't a piece of shit.
I'm okay with someone telling me, you're a piece of shit.
And
I said, you know what? You're right. I could have done this so much differently, completely.
Yeah.
I understand you, and I'm going to learn from it, and I'm gonna grow from it. And that's the way I've approached that, and it's right.
And here's a fun fact, baby. Here's a fun fact. And
I
know you're gonna be like the wow button, the muchacho button, the IBM button.
Let me get this
So here's this. Here's the fun fact, right? Here's the fun fact when I say that sometimes you are a piece of shit. And I do say sometimes you're a piece of shit when you're like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with the boys, right? And here I am, I'm like, yo, we haven't gone on a date in a hot second, but he's quick to get dressed in 2 seconds to go hang out with his boys. And in that at that time, he's thinking I don't want him to go out with his boys, right? That's not it. I'm saying, damn, I want him to ask me to go out and get that excited, you know? But
you're saying that in your brain.
And in my brain. And I had, right, because again, it's for him, it's coming across as this, like, I don't want him to go out. It's not that I don't want you to go out. It's just that we haven't been out in a hot minute. And then I see you, get excited. And I'm just like, why can't that be me?
All right. For those of y'all who already jumped on her side, let me explain something. Because this is where everybody's thinking that I'm a piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit right now, man. That ain't shit right now.
This is where...
But they don't know the other side of the story. Exactly.
Like, okay. So, in my mind, we're home all day.
You don't go out.
You don't go out.
You don't go out. You don't go out with your boy.
No, she knows this. She goes, you don't go out. But then when I want to go out, she gets mad because it's not with her. But we home all day. All day. Weekends and everything. So, if there was ever a time that you wanted to go out, it could have been expressed. And we could have did it.
That's why I asked. I said, you're saying that she's saying it in her brain.
Right. And matter of fact, all the resources are available to us, especially here in Florida. So if you want to go out, all you got to do is say, walk in your closet and get dressed. We out. So when it's my time and somebody calls me and say, yo, Ben, I'm over here. We're going to do this. Okay, I'm out. See you later, Mia. Now you mad?
Now this is
when the phone starts blowing up.
But this is the way I see it, right? Like you don't go out, you really don't go out. You don't go out with your boys or anything like that, and your circle's very small, so
extremely small.
So wait, you want to talk about my circle?
Yeah, your circle's very small. So I see it where like when someone actually, because people actually don't even ask you to go out, but actually people do invite you, but they invite you to go to clubs.
Not all the time.
They want you to go to clubs and all that, and you're not there. You're not there anymore. So, but when you see it, when you have a chance to socialize in an environment that you feel comfortable with, you want to take advantage of it. But not to say that he's fucking in the streets every weekend hanging out, and that's
you know what I did the one time I went out? Out of I think I've been in. We have this house maybe 3 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Going on 3.
Going on 3, right?
God bless.
Why couldn't you just leave him say 3 years? Yeah, like really, I don't understand that. Semantics.
It's just me.
I know it's you. Holy shit.
Just the other day, I said to myself, I gotta go. And you know what I did? I got dressed and I left for the whole day. You know where I went? To see grandma. Mm-hmm. I'd rather do that than go to the club.
Yeah, he went to go see grandma.
What?
And here's what I've learned.
What else am I do?
This is what I've learned also. I say sometimes he's a piece of shit.
And you were saucy that day, dude. I'm like, what the fuck?
My Wella's different. My Wella's a G. I come in, she's like, time to take a shot.
Listen.
Fuck.
I will tell you this also. I also say he's a piece of shit when I want to do things and he's not into what I want. And I had to let go of that, right? He says, you could fucking be at the beach and you could fucking fry your ass all day long.
I don't want to sit
and you're
there.
good with that. He's like, no.
I can't.
I mean.
That's why you're her ace.
Right.
The things that you don't want to do, I do.
Right. I like going to festivals. I like going to museums.
And vice versa. Like, she told me yesterday, oh, I'm going to sit in the studio with you all day. She came in for 30 seconds and left.
But why?
But you're sitting there and actually learn with me and work it with me and pause. And work everything and learn how to be an engineer. And you understand what I'm saying?
But that's because I wanted to do that. I want to learn that. She doesn't want to learn none of that shit.
Right.
It's not that I don't want to learn.
No, you don't want to learn it.
But that's his space.
I don't need 10
you understand?
either. I don't need to look cuter.
No.
I don't need it.
That's his space. It's like he doesn't sit with me when I'm working. You know what I mean? When he's in the studio, I consider that work. So like you'll sit with me and you'll hear me on the phone and then you'll start chiming in on what I'm saying and you want to know.
I just want to know everything. That's just
me.
Yeah,
that is just you. That is just you.
I just want to. But I said thou.
That's what he is.
But
if she's on the phone, I go. I'm like, I don't want to hear none of this shit.
It took a lot of self evaluating to not feel insecure when he's turned his attention to something else.
You see, and that's a good point too, TV. Actually, everyone goes to us to hang out. They So the point is we're always here.
How many times we say we're gonna go out, and it's all of a sudden it's like we can't go out. Not we can't go out, but we don't go out because someone's visiting us, or people
I'd rather do that though
to hang out. Over
and Sasha
here.
said you nosy as hell too. I just want you to know.
Look, even Monique too. Holy shit!
See, you see.
But y'all love me. Sorry.
Whoa.
No, you gotta see where we put Nelson in the middle, because Ben and I could be in a heated fucking argument, and Nelson is there, and then we'll both be like, Nelson
does this look. He does this look.
I'm fucking oblivious to shit, yo. I'm like, I'm listening.
That's his thought process going. He's trying to think of what to say next at that point when he goes.
Yeah, my mind goes into because I know they're gonna fucking ask me. Right? I was right? Yo, see? Talk to your ace. I'm like, holy shit. So I gotta prepare 2 portfolios. That's what I need to do.
Wow. No, but it's really not easy, and you have to learn your partner's love language. Like, I let him be now. I'm like, you know what? If he's gonna be in the studio all day, at the minimum, I know where he's at. I know what he's doing.
Ray, what up, Ray?
And I keep it moving. I keep it moving. And then I learned I have to do what I want to do for myself.
That comes with time.
I can't expect him to be with me 24 hours, 7 days a week. I can't expect him to like everything that I like. I ask him for compromise, and there are times that he's like,
you find middle ground. You gotta find middle ground.
At times he'll tell me straight out. Like, I told him, baby, come with me to the crystal store. That's not my thing, boo. That's your thing. Go out, do what you gotta do. I will always ask him.
That's funny, JR.
JR, we said that earlier.
We actually said that earlier.
We said that earlier. He said, you have 2 husbands. Everybody does everything for you.
Sí, porque esta mujer jode, coño.
Okay. You see? Now that's knowing the other side. You see what I'm saying?
Holy
now
shit,
I'm not a POS.
Yeah.
See?
No.
But that comes with growth, what you're saying. Like,
it comes with growth, and it comes with acceptance, and it comes with not competing. We're both 2 individuals.
And it took years for that.
Oh, yeah.
So
it wasn't immediate. Hell no.
Imagine a woman who's 1 or 2 years in a relationship, and the guy does something wrong, and now he's a piece of shit. No.
Yeah.
It takes time.
That's because she's expecting something. Like,
right.
The whole. What was that other crazy show? Love. This one's watching Love at First Sight, and people are getting married at first sight, and she's having a confab with her girlfriends. Oh, well, I expected to be engaged by 27 and married by 30. My first kid at 32. I'm like, what fucking manual are you reading that this is the way your life has to come out? Like,
and watching The Notebook.
And then the shit is, when it doesn't happen, you put yourself in such a bad place. And then when you meet a man, and the shit is, you still have those expectations, and you're just still getting to know this person, and then a year passes in, and I'm like, this motherfucker ain't gonna fucking give me a ring. Oh, he's a piece of shit. That's why men ain't shit. I should stay single. You want to stay single, but you have expectations of being engaged, married, kids, house, all along. You can't have both. You can't be miserable and be grateful. Sorry.
Tell them how you feel.
I'm telling you how I feel.
Amen, my brother.
Let me preach. Because I haven't been preaching yet, but it's going to come.
Here's one thing. Here's another thing that I used to get on his ass about, and he was another piece of shit for, right? I would sit here, and I'm like, I need hoops.
You brown around now.
I need hoop earrings. Wow. I need hoop earrings. I need hoop earrings. I need hoop earrings, right? And then my birthday or holiday would come around. I wouldn't get hoop earrings. And then finally I said, you know what? Fuck that. If I'm giving him signals and he's not understanding these signals, I need to woman up, and I need to be like, me das dinero porque yo quiero esta pantalla.
Espérate, primera, what fucking signals are you giving? You giving smoke signals or what the fuck?
She was transparent, and she used to tell me, but this was my young stage. You understand? This is.
But you're still a little like that, though.
Yeah,
you are.
No.
You've gotten better.
No. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I hear her, but I understand and I prioritize.
Okay.
There's a difference. Before, I didn't give a fuck. She'd be like, I want these hoop earrings. In my mind, I'm like, bitch, I ain't got no money for no fucking hoop earrings. You ain't getting shit. But now
she needs 2 hoop earrings. At least 2 pairs.
But now I'm like saying to myself, okay, so if she tells me she wants hoop earrings, I'm gonna tell her hoop your ass to the fucking switch and see that light bill.
No.
Because that's the priority.
No, but on a serious note,
there's an understanding on that.
You guys think differently when it comes to different subjects.
No, what I learned was that no matter the signals, right? At the end of the day, now what I do is holidays. He thinks that I'm very difficult when it comes to getting a gift.
Do I only think it?
I think he thinks that I know.
No, she's not difficult.
Nelson.
Not for gifts, she's not.
I think
I'm sorry. She's not. Sorry.
Well,
bro.
no, he knows. He knows. What are the top 3 things that I like?
Me, and me.
No, seriously. What are the top 3 things that I like?
Crystals.
1.
Me.
Books.
No, but besides books.
It used to be heels. Like I nailed it with
Shoes.
that one.
She loves shoes. Oh,
I used to love shoes. Yeah.
I
used to wear them.
Yeah, I used to be able to know, but it changed though. A lot of things changed.
It used to be shoes, wine, shoes and wine and the beach. Those are the 3 main things.
That's the easy part.
Now
we're talking about like holidays. We're talking about all right. First of all, our anniversary, New Year's, and Christmas.
Everybody knows I love wine. I love that everybody's saying wine. Thank you,
but
guys.
you can't keep giving wine every time.
Right.
Let me tell you, some women will differ. Some women will differ.
But what I learned to do was I learned to tell him either I knew, okay, so first of all, he and I are not the ones that were like, oh my God, it's your birthday, we're going to go crazy. Or Christmas, right? Or we gift each other all year around. All year we're gifting each other things. So when it comes to holidays and birthdays, we don't make a big stink about it. In the past, we used to make a pass. In the past, we made a big deal about it, but now it's like if we
she
give
used
something,
to get frustrated. I'm like, oh, but I told him this, I told him that. But then I had to give her a little perspective. And again, 2 stories. He's not a piece of shit because understand where he's coming from. What his environment was, how he grew up. And yes, remember, he is not that person. He's not where you want. See, this is the thing. He's not where you wanted him to be.
I was raised different.
And so, but he has made steps to progress. And that's what you got to see. And that's exactly what it
took a lot of Thanksgivings for me to understand.
But I would.
Like, what her life was like as far as family cohesiveness and
the first
not saying that my family
my
family didn't love each other, but we didn't do a lot of the things that her family did. So her expectation of how a man should be was literally like
my puppy my puppy spoils the shit out of me.
You know what I'm saying?
He still does.
So,
and then again, that word expectations.
Yeah. So now at that time she had 2 guidelines. She had her father and then she had her son's father. So it's like, now I gotta meet these 2 expectations and not be the piece of shit or whoever, whatever. And
that was your bad right there. That was your bad right there because you can't act on someone else's expectation.
And that's where we go wrong.
You have to be who you are. And if that person accepts you and loves you, they're going to accept you who you are. And then in the dynamic of the relationship is once you learn, then you grow and you learn. And then because you love her, you start changing. Okay, I didn't understand it. I do now. So let me then be thoughtful. Like, okay, one here, one, chocolates there, and so forth and so on. And that's how you guys have manifested.
And here's another fun fact. When we moved to Florida, we weren't together. Remember, we were not together.
And I just want to remind everybody who's listening. The point of all this is to let y'all know I'm not a piece of shit. But go ahead.
He's not. When we moved to Florida, we decided, right, that we were moving to Florida and you were coming to help me with Nina. And right. So that because you supported what I wanted to do.
We weren't together at the time.
And here's the thing, I've started working at a law firm at the age of 16. And I in college, I had my baby, my oldest, and I had to support my baby. And hence after graduating college, I put everything on hold and I continued to work for law firms. I'm in my 4th law firm. I've always been stable. But there came a point where when I saw myself at the bottom of the barrel, I said, it's time for me to chase my dream. And a friend of mine helped me, and pushed me to do that. And it was for me to, go to law school. So when I got accepted to law school and they brought me out here to Florida and I told him and he said, all right, I'm going to go with you. It was only with the intent of him being there to take care of our daughter and to support me.
No grapes, Alex, no grapes. We didn't get grapes.
And I remember, and I told him, I said, listen, be prepared. I'm working full time. And at that time, I didn't even have a job, but I was like, I'm going to work full time because I have to work and pay bills. I don't know what it is not to work. I have to work and pay bills, and I'm going to be going to law school at night. So be prepared. And I remember in the beginning, my man said, I am not your bitch. And I was like, what?
What a piece of shit were you?
And he was like, I'm not your bitch. And mind you, and I'm like, what?
I'm sitting in the house doing nothing.
But I had to.
That's your choice to do that.
But that was my mindset. Yeah. I'm not your bitch. Like, I gotta go find.
Well, no, because he told me, he was like, yo, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm washing, I'm doing this. Because on the weekends, I was taking 4 classes. So on the weekends, I had to do all my assignments for those 4 classes. Right. And when they give you an assignment in law school, it's not a simple assignment. But in any event, when he said that to me, I told him, you're not my bitch. I said, because if the shoe was on the other foot, trust me when I tell you, I would be home so that you could do what you gotta do.
I needed that reminder.
And I told him, I said, and remember, if I rise, you rising with me. Like, this is gonna take us to the top. You're not gonna be behind me. We're here. And even though I'm working on something for growth, and to elevate us, if I win, you win. If I make, you make. What's mine is yours. So at the end of the day, don't feel inferior because you're not bringing anything to the table. Of course.
But he is bringing.
Absolutely.
He is bringing something
absolutely.
to the table. But then
listen, my man learned how to cook and he could throw it down.
This is exactly that situation. In many instances, a woman will say, I came down here, I'm going to do my thing, and then he ain't doing shit. And I see he ain't shit. Because he ain't doing shit, yet not realizing that he is taking care of the household. He's cooking, he's cleaning. Things that if you were by yourself.
Good night, Sasha. Thank you so much for joining us, Mama.
No, she's saying night to Tracy, because
Tracy's, good night. Tracy's going to see bro.
Tracy's the vieja. So it's realizing that, okay, if he wasn't here, I would have to, all those duties would be on my shoulders on top of everything that I have. But people will be like, see, he ain't piece of shit, he ain't do nothing. I'm like, all right, so then do it all on your own and then tell me how you really feel after that.
You know what I want? Can I tell y'all what I want? I want all your friends who was talking shit and condoning to watch this so they can actually come to me and say, sorry, man, you're not a piece of shit. No, how hard is it for a woman to do that?
I remember my going away party, and I walked in with you to that going away party, and I think everybody's neck broke that night because no one really knew what was happening, and they were like, what is this man doing here? And when I announced that he was coming with me to Florida,
I knew.
There were people that were like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're taking him to fucking Florida? And he was threatened. Remember, you were threatened that night?
But he wasn't. See, this is the thing. You weren't taking him to Florida. He was choosing to go with you to Florida. It's a different thing. Correct. And then because some people who are fake-ass friends.
There you go.
Don't know the story.
Preach.
And actually don't even take the time to ask, hey, what's going on? I thought you guys weren't together. What's the story? Mm-hmm. But no, they formulate and assume the other side. And then judge. And then not only then do you get ostracized, in some shape or form, she gets ostracized because of her choice. A true friend is just going to, is that what you want? Is that going to make you happy? I'm happy for you, boo. Let's go.
There you go.
Alex, you were invited to the party, Mama.
Alex, I think Alex was still a minor.
No, she wasn't. No. She wasn't a minor.
First of all, I always see Alex like she's 20.
Yeah. First of all, I want to know why Alex laughed because you said that I cook.
She said Ben can cook. Yeah, Ben can cook.
I can cook too. What the hell?
Ben learned how to cook the hard way because I wasn't home to cook and he had to cook for Nina.
Ben learned how to cook because he wasn't a piece of shit. Because
exactly. If he was a piece of shit, he would have been cooking. He'd be watching television, playing video games all day long.
Like those piece of shit young guys.
And how many relationships where women complain about their men? Oh, they don't work. Oh, they're always playing video games. They're always popping bottles. They're always out. They're always out with their boys. There's never time for me and all this. And women stay in these relationships.
I don't know
and
why.
then
they say that
something clicks.
Yeah.
I love Alex. She said, "Remember, I lived in Florida too with y'all." She was coming every year before she,
But then something clicks in a woman. I'm like, oh, I don't want this anymore. And men are a piece of shit. No, the man that you chose is a piece of shit.
Facts.
And you're choosing to be with that person.
And I will say this, and I think that most of my friends can vouch for this, who have come and confided in me with regard to their situations. And more often than not, when a friend comes to you and they complain about what was done to them by their significant other, more often than not, you get the, "You girl, guy, you better than that. Leave that motherfucker. You know what? You're a strong woman. You're a strong man, and you can survive and this and the third." No, that's not me. What I say is, listen, you're in a place right now where you're hurt. But the truth is that you love that person. You want to be with that person. And I'm here to support you. I'm not here to judge you, right? Because at the end of the day, who am I to tell somebody to leave the relationship they're in because they're complaining to me that they're not happy, right? Because they're complaining to me about their significant other's flaws, right? And I try to let them know at the end of the day, there's a way to go around that. Right? You could come to me and you could complain to me and you could tell me all the dirty shit your spouse has done. And I will tell you straight up, and I think there's somebody out there, I'm not going to say their name, who deeply confided to me in the situation that occurred. I wasn't the one to say, leave. I wasn't the one to say that person's a piece of shit. At the end of the day, I said, listen, it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to remain with that person with what they did to you, and if you're willing to work hard, and if that person's willing to work hard to take that car out of the ditch, then I'm here to support you.
Yeah, you support.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge.
This is what I do with you guys, because you'll call me and you'll call me, and I am in a beneficial place where if she calls me, this is what I do. She tells me what she has to tell me. And then I go talk to you and see your perspective. I'm not taking her side, his side, or anything like that, but I listen, and then I absorb it, I process it, and then you guys want feedback, and I'll tell him what I think to him, and I'll tell her, and vice versa, because there's two sides to every story, and I'm an outsider looking in, and then when I get the complete story, I probably see things that neither of them see.
Right.
And that's where then, that's where common ground is found.
Right.
But people that just decide to, oh, he did this is what I heard, and you still with him and all that sucking teeth. Oh, you go gay girls, mom.
All me as friends from back in the days.
And you know, my cousin Cammie, thank you for your transparency to say, yes, I can say what Mia is saying is facts. She has never judged and always saw both sides, so appreciative. And Cammie, if you don't mind me saying, this is without me knowing the other person and speaking to the other person. It was all just based on what you shared with me, you know, because at the end of the day, I have to understand I went through something. And because I went through something really, 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 you know, ugly, at the end of the day, I know that there are relationships that can surpass that. You know, there are relationships that can work on it, but it's tough.
It's two people.
It is tough. It is tough.
It got definitely.
Yeah.
People think relationships are easy. Like anything that's worthwhile is never ever going to be easy. And what most people do is they look for the easy way out. They look for shortcuts. They look for something they look for angles. They never want to put in the hard work. They don't want to go through the process because they think they want that instant gratification. And it's I need it now. I want it now. This is what I need. If I can't get it, fuck you. On the horse that you rode on, next. And what happens is you never actually get to be fulfilled in any type of relationship because you just want that this thing, that this expectation that you have in your head of what a relationship or what a man should be, and that is what fucking just claws at me.
And then 9 times out of 10, when they go to the next, they get the same result.
Well, yeah, obviously, because what their mindset is, what their energy is getting
out,
all
men
they're getting the same shit because that's what you're radiating out there. That's what you're sending that out to the universe. I'm like, of course you're gonna get men that ain't shit, because at the end of the day, you're not looking in the mirror. You ain't shit. Plain and simple.
That's what I'm saying. That's you just nail in the head, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you don't look at yourself and make the
nail on the head.
You are really confused with these sayings today.
You hit the nail on the head.
There you go. All right. It takes you 3 times. Got it.
Yeah. And just so that you know, we're far from perfect, and we have our flaws, and we get into it really, really hard.
But I think you guys are perfect. I think you guys are perfect for each other in many aspects.
That's my yin. That's my dog.
You're going yang.
Yo me voy pa' casa. And on that note, nos vamos pa' carajo. Thank you for listening.
No, but you know, and if anybody, you know, there's somebody that put that we saved a lot of relationships tonight. You know, Ben and I, we tried. Yes, you know, if we did, you know, it's only because we're being real and we're not hiding things from anyone. And no, I put it down. Oh, my bad. We're not hiding anything.
She don't understand. She was the whole show. That's what I'm telling you. She wants to be the queen of logistics. Mira eso.
No.
No tiene ni un carajo.
We don't hide from our truths. I know I don't hide from.
I used to.
I don't hide from.
You taught me not to.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's real, you know. Yeah. And if we can share our story, and we can help one person, that's enough.
That's dope.
You know, that's enough. If somebody comes to me. And you know, about a relationship or issue, you know, I tell them this is what I went through, and it's not to compare, but this is what I went through, and this is how I handle it. Now, from there, it's like the ball is in your court. You know, the ball is in your court, and you play it, and you throw it, and you do whatever you want to do with it. And not every situation has the same result. Because, again, it takes 2, right? It takes 2.
You gotta want it. You
have to accept that every relationship doesn't start off as a mature relationship. Sometimes it just takes work to get to that point, and you have to be willing to do it with that person if you really want to be with that person.
And it's a shame because, like, you could take your situation and then put 1 million people in the same situation. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to throw it. I would say 90% of the people would go through that aspect of, yeah, man ain't shit, fuck them, and all this other stuff. Like, and not realize all the good things that man is, and not realize, you know what, I'm not perfect myself. I have a lot of shortcomings, and he's still here. And it's just, there's lack of self-reflection. And there's too much expectation when it comes to relationships and marriage, and women tend to fall prey to this novel idea that men are supposed to sweep you over your feet, and it's always flowers and roses and dinners, and it's always going to be pretty and rainbows. That's not how it freaking is. You can have that dream and fairy tale. That's not a problem. But if you think you're just going to sit back, kick back your feet, and that relationship is going to work, you got something coming to you. And then the thing is, because you have those expectations and you expect that relationship to always be that way, dudes are just going to kick rocks.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, and then you feel bad, and you're like, see, he wasn't a piece of shit because I did. You ain't do shit. You were expecting all this shit that a man do, and what were you contributing to the relationship to make it grow? Absolutely nothing.
We have Rose 76. So what do you do when he ignores you after screwing someone else?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you have to.
Well, it depends.
Yeah,
I mean, Rose, it depends. I mean, because you know, it depends on the conversation you had. After he screwed someone else, Right?
So are you trying to say that? Are you trying
Mama,
to
Sasha, I have an abundance of amount of wine, baby, an abundance. So whenever you're here, don't worry about it. I got you.
That's what you need, Rose. You need some wine, and then you got to have that conversation.
Rose, but are you trying to say he stepped out of the marriage?
Yeah.
And then you tried to speak on it, and he just ignores you. He doesn't want to have that conversation. Because obviously he slept with the girlfriend, and right after that he just stopped talking to you.
He slept with the girlfriend, and right after that he just stopped. He ghosted you. He ghosted her.
But if that's the case, she didn't demand an explanation or a conversation or whatever it is.
Well, you don't demand. You don't demand.
I'm saying for herself, what she wanted something.
She wants answers.
Her trio. See, but Rose, your circumstances are a little bit different. Are different because, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with all due respect. If you allow something,
all respect,
with all due respect.
Oh, okay.
If you're, there's a trio, right? There's a trio, and at some point. I don't know how easy it is to.
What are your boundaries?
For someone to give equal attention, right, to the other person. If you put yourself, I say he can't handle it. If you put yourself in a situation where, and I don't say you per se, but if you put yourself in a situation where you're, and I don't mean competing, because you should be looked at equally if you're choosing to be that, right? Every person in that trio should be treated equally, but at some point I think that one person, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, may receive more than the other person, and that other person that's not receiving the equal amount of attention is going to feel a type way.
Yeah, but that relationship, it has to be established from the beginning. What are the boundaries? What's allowed? What's not allowed? And if at any point those are they're violated at any point, then there has to be that even before, like if you step out, this is not acceptable, and then we're not going to continue with that. But that has to be established beforehand, and because it's a very tricky situation, you need to make sure that the boundaries and the rules. This is where rules have to come into play, because there's such a dynamic and there's so many variables. Things can go in so many different ways that you have to set some type of standard. And if those standards aren't kept, then maybe the whole trio thing.
Oh, so Sony asked, if I may ask, how long has the trio been going on? So she's speaking to Rose about the trio. I know this.
That's a different topic too.
I think it's definitely a different topic, and I respect you 100% for your transparency in your relationship. I think it's you have to be very emotionally strong to be able to share another person, whether it's female, male, whatever they are. You have to be very strong to share that person.
We know me are not doing it.
I'm not fucking sharing a damn thing. My fan, you is my piece of cake, my man. You is my piece of cake, and I can't do that. I can't. But yeah,
Yeah.
You ready? You guys are having your own conversation over there on the side. No, but this has been very interesting. Super mega producer, thank you for joining us tonight. And for being transparent and speaking about our personal experiences and what we've been through.
An example.
It's been a roller motherfucking coaster, but I'll tell you this, I could keep writing it.
Pause. See, bro, that's why we had to leave this podcast like 30 minutes ago. Shit. I should be home right now. Look at my wounds.
No, but it's been an amazing roller coaster ride, and it's going to continue to be an amazing roller coaster ride. And the thing is that as each day passes, as each second passes, I learn something new about him. I really do. I learned something new about him. I think he learned something new about me recently, and and that's how I think we need to just keep. You need to keep focused, and you need to keep digging in and learning about who you're with.
Me just found out that I'm the super mega.
If Evie's still out there, I just want to tell Evie, I don't know, but and this is don't take this, don't think this is creepy, but Evie, if you're out there, I'm hugging you tight, I'm hugging you tight, and I say that because I really felt what you said earlier about needing and missing and wanting love. And you're loved. You're loved as a person, whether you're with a significant other or not.
You gotta love yourself.
Love yourself.
Always
first.
love yourself first.
And that person that will accept you wholeheartedly will be there and will present themselves to
Absolutely.
you. So don't give up on love. Don't give up on meeting that person. But I am hugging you from afar, boo boo.
If you love yourself, the right person is going to see that, and they're going to love you even more.
Facts. And before we head out,
Well,
Sasha texted me a question to ask y'all. She wants to know, what is super mega producer? She wants an explanation on this.
Well, I came up with that term. So super mega producer is AKA BigFace Music World, AKA 100 other hats that he wears. So
Thank you.
because he does so much, and he does it with no expectations. He loves this shit, like royally loves this. Like, this excites me. This creativity, he loves
comes together.
Yeah. So his mind starts going. Yo, I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because honestly, he has his music. He has his artists. He's quite busy in that realm. The podcast idea was always thrown between me and her, and we just always had to figure out how we're going to do it, so forth and so on.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think we just said, okay, we're going to do the podcast, and all of a sudden we had all this equipment. We have all this equipment.
I asked if you were super mega producer. Yes, he is. That is the face right there of the super mega producer.
Now you got a name.
But now you understand the name, and you got a face, and you understand why. So
I love you too, Edie. I love you too.
So
yeah, no, it's been great. And if you have any questions, any concerns,
thank you guys for asking me to come on, because I wouldn't have came on.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
This is a great topic. Please share it with your friends. Like it. Put it on your pages. I'm pretty sure, like someone said, if you probably saved some marriages today, and obviously sharing this message to as many people as possible. Again, we never know what someone or a couple is going through, and maybe they need a different perspective. They need a different angle in looking at things.
Just refer them to this episode.
Yeah, so just
Absolutely.
bring them there. Like I said, we're on Facebook, we're on IG, we're on YouTube. We'll be on other streaming services, and we'll be providing you with more content and more
EVJR said sending you hugs too, all will fall into place.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You have to have faith. Faith is always the hope unseen. So
and they always say you got to go through the bad to get to the good.
There's no such thing as good immediately.
And I think that if you take away from each relationship, you take away, even if it's one positive thing, and leave the negative behind you, you will get to that one person where it's going to mesh. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, lingerie and roses. It's not. It's going to be hard.
Listen, man, I always say, and this is a coaching term that I always do, you're either winning or you're learning. There's never anything else. Take that negativity and use it as fuel. You learn from it. You adapt. You grow from it. If we did not have those events, we would not be human beings. And that's why human beings have that innate ability to adapt. It's why we are an elite species because of that.
You got to feel that wet, cold rain to love that warm sun.
Post.
Oh my God.
Gabby says she's manifesting. Absolutely. You put it out in the universe and it's going to come to you.
Exactly. Whatever you manifest. So what if you're feeling, if you're in this mode of men ain't shit, guess what you're going to manifest?
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Same type. Absolutely. And that's why you got to live like how Nelson says. Love.
Laugh.
Sasha said, Evie, get your outfit because we're going to party. Yeah, I believe you ladies are both, Sasha and Evie, they're both Evie's in up north. And Sasha, she's up north. In the Bronx. She's in the Bronx. So, yeah, you ladies.
She's in the Boogie Down.
Giving people addresses?
Boogie Down is pretty
I didn't give addresses. I said up north.
Sasha didn't want them to know that she was in the Bronx. I wouldn't want nobody to know I was in the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn, so I can say this.
Oh, ain't nobody going to come to the Bronx and look for her. You crazy? People don't come to Brooklyn in the Bronx.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely not.
Evie's in the lower. She's
in the lower. That's another place.
She in my hood. She in my hood. Yeah.
But thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for the interaction. Every week we have gotten more and more feedback and more interaction and transparency. Yeah,
and you sharing and you all JR. I'm in New York too, Elias, and you know, and that's what I love about what has happened here, because it's not just about us, it's about all of us, and it's our outlet. You know, this can be our own place where we can just say what we want to say, vent, and there's no judgments, there is no criticism, and I say what I say not as advice, right? Because unsolicited advice is not good advice. It's always when it's solicited that hopefully makes a change. But you know, it's our sacred space, and we're giving it to you, and you are joining us, and I really deeply appreciate it. And it's a reconnection, you know. I have my girls here, I have my guys here, and we're family, you know. Family it means a lot to me. So, you know, keep it coming, keep joining us.
Just to let you know that you're not alone.
Yeah, definitely
you're not alone. And it's really the premise of this podcast, to allow people to understand that what you're going through, a lot of people are going through, and that's just facts. And you know, we're happy to share this and hopefully enlighten and give you this open-mindedness that, you know, there's always a way, there's always a solution, and you're never alone. And that's why we share and why we are transparent with our experiences and our thoughts, so that way, you know, in a sense, we could be amused to a lot of people where, like, wow, I went through this, or there was a time period I went through that, and that's great, and that it's not taboo. You know, it's very important to understand that we need to have these hard conversations. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
We need to have these conversations so we can learn, so we can understand each other and grow as people. And because we're all gifted, and we all get stuck in this thing called life, and
connection is everything. Absolutely.
Like molasses. So. Yeah,
and here's the most this is the most important thing. Here's the most important thing. None of us are right, and none of us are wrong. We are all entitled to our opinion, and we are in a place where we can agree to disagree, and that's really important.
But right? we are all wrong, because if we are not wrong, we can never know what right is.
Facts.
Oh, wow.
Drop the mic. We're going down.
All right, we're closing down. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Did you just take us off?
No, we're fine.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And remember, what's our quote?
Always how we leave you. You gotta love. You gotta laugh, and then you gotta live. Always.
Amen. Live, love, and laugh.
Wow.
Confucius says.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. IG, we love you. YouTube,
have a great week. Have a great week.
You know, we're good.
Bye, everybody.